the strongest technician of the Hidden Sand Village. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 301, A Magnificent Spectacle. In the northern region of the Country of Fire, a luxurious carriage came along the official road with a graceful clicking sound, followed closely by a large number of guards and attendants, carrying a large amount of supplies, as if it were a huge caravan. I remember when he first arrived in Konoha, he was alone with two escorting Sunagakure ninjas, and now he is the escorted Sunagakure ninjas returned directly to the village after arriving in Konoha, and the next task was handed over to Konoha Point after a period of negotiation and arrangement. The Third Kazekage finally determined the composition of the escorting Konoha ninjas. However, on the first day, after Lopner and the three people set off, the distinguished guest began to dislike Konoha for allowing him to walk, and lodged a strong protest. "I'm not a ninja. How can I be as crazy as you running through the forest?" As the leader of the team, Kakashi scratched his head a little. "Then we will rent a carriage for you, Kakashi." This guy is a lot more mature, but he deliberately didn't rent the carriage. Was it also to test his own background? Then let's go to the Fire Nation's administrative center first. The Fire Nation's headquarters was a convenient place along the way, so Kakashi agreed to it without much thought. As a result, as soon as the group arrived at the Fire Country's administrative center, Lopner started a series of things. Since he was a distinguished guest, when the mission was announced, Mr. Lopner came to the most prosperous city in the Country of Fire. As a wealthy man, he directly bought shops on 3 streets in the administrative center of the Country of Fire for commercial development. Buying 3 streets and paying with real money was the first time I encountered such a wealthy businessman. Several officials were dumbfounded. Even Kakashi and others were dumbfounded. These Konoha ninjas who grew up during the Third Ninja World War have long forgotten what their ancestors were wealthy. They have long been accustomed to being tight-lipped. When have they ever seen such wealthy people behave like this? Rizahan immediately blushed, which made Asma even more displeased with Lopner. The appearance of a powerful businessman alarmed the Fire Country daimyo. He made an exception and sent a small escort team to protect the distinguished guest. At the same time, he also gave Lopner a vehicle representing the daimyo's identity. At the same time, there are a large number of followers and servants for Master Lopner to use. This series of actions that undermined the sense of presence made the Konoha ninjas escorting Lopner feel a bit difficult to handle. In order to ensure the successful completion of the mission, in addition to Asuma and Hiyuki Kyunai, the 2 Chunins, Kakashi, as the jounin of Konoha, was appointed by the Third Kazekage as the team leader to participate in this escort mission. So everything starts with Kakashi. After the Fire Kingdom's administration left, the pressure on the 3 escorts became much greater, because Mr. Lopner seemed to have endless money to spend. He showed off his wealth, and ostentation. He even paid to rent a group of opera troupes, and listen to ditties every day, while eating and drinking wine and living happily. Although they had performed some escort missions before, including many businessmen and officials, this was the first time they had met such a high-profile mission target like Lopner. This guy seems to want the whole world to know his whereabouts. Young Master Lopner didn't seem to be in any hurry to go to the Kingdom of Frost. This young master used his shopping skills and frantically bought land and purchased various local specialties along the way in the Kingdom of Fire, forming a huge escort team. This made Konoha it was miserable. If it is to protect one person, then Kakashi and others are enough, but the number of people in such a huge caravan makes the 3 Konoha ninjas particularly nervous, because they have received intelligence information that this Lopner master is in the Kingdom of Wind. There are also enemies, and it's not all smooth sailing. Among them, the most important force threatening Lopner is the Bideo family. After all, the Lowland Chamber of Commerce is a potential competitor for them, so it is entirely possible to send assassins to hunt down the Lopner Master. It's a pity that this Lopner Master is now inspecting a trading town in the north of the Kingdom of Fire, intending to continue to acquire land here. In addition to using the characteristics of local tyrants to buy land, Lopner also collected many famous chefs from the Kingdom of Fire along the way and prepared to hire them to return to the Kingdom of Wind to work. It has to be said that the chefs from the central region of the Ninja continent are different from the chefs from the Kingdom of Wind in their skills and abilities. Not only are they proficient in various cooking techniques, but they are also very receptive to new things. In addition to 3 meals a day, Lopner also has various afternoon teas and late night snacks, and then arranges different singing groups to perform various programs. In addition, they also take out the projector invented by Sunagakure to play some literary and romantic movies broadcast in the country of the Wind. In literary and romantic films, in addition to literature and art, there is also love. Most of the lines are very elegant and the content is very boring. Even if I drive a car, the contents are not explicit and are expressed in a poetic way. Apart from Kakashi, Asuma and Hiyuki Kurenai are not very interested in this kind of high-end literary romance film. Unexpectedly, Kakashi and Lopner had the same interest in this area, so every time the movie was played, the sultry boy would accompany him and enjoy it together. I didn't expect that there are people who have the same interest as me these days. I usually have to rent these movie discs to watch them when the price in Konoha is very high and the mission rewards are too low. Now it's great to be able to watch them with the young master. I don't know why, but I always feel like I haven't seen Kakashi in a few years. This guy's tone is getting more and more slick, and Lopner has a desire to hang him up and beat him up. Haha, but I'm surprised that Mr. Kakashi is already a jounin at such a young age. It is a happy thing to be praised for being young and promising, but the other person is from the country of wind, and Kakashi does not feel that he has anything to be proud of. The Kazekage of your country was already a wind shadow when I was my current age. Shadow. You read www.uakshu.net. He is an exception. Lopner's face didn't turn red when he said this, and his heart didn't beat. He praised himself for always being so happy, and in his heart he hoped Kakashi would praise him more, but Kakashi's reaction was very dull. That guy is indeed a monster. 15 dishes, 3 snacks, 1 soup, and 1 fruit were placed on a huge white cloth. Mr. Lopner ate the food with a smile and watched the movie as if he was a winner in life. The mission was originally expected to take 10 days, but according to his way of playing, he would not reach the Kingdom of Frost on time for a month. It takes 2 hours for this guy to have a meal, as well as afternoon tea, and midnight snacks are only a few hours away at the end of the day. So when can we complete the task? Asmap, calm down. Let's just go on a trip. After drinking the smoothie drink provided by Lopner, Rixie Han was no longer in a hurry. She treated this mission purely as a trip. Besides, it was also a good choice to see more about the life of the rich. Chapter 302, Hagoromo vs Uchiha. The northern border of the country of fire is located at the junction of the country of frost and the country of Taki. Although Kakashi is unable to lead the team due to the pitfall of Lopner in the country, from the perspective of Konoha's top management, even without Kakashi, there are still Uchiha Itachi and Uchiha Kid in this team, which is enough to suppress Hagoromo Shinto. However, only Uchiha Kid and Uchiha Itachi knew in their hearts that since Shisu's accident, the two of them had been incompatible with each other. Although they showed a peaceful attitude on the surface. In fact, this mission was very difficult, not to mention Uchiha. The relationship between Bofeng and Lopner, as well as Hagoromo Manto, involves a huge calculation point. In fact, losing Kakashi to lead the team has brought a fatal crisis to the team. In the online world of Shiraishi thought, Kid Uchiha listed the information in his hands into pictures. The current whereabouts of Nanao are still uncertain, but in addition to Kumo Ninja, there are also some other mercenary organizations appearing. The Akatsuki organization under the Red Cloud is a giant that has emerged among underground forces in recent years, eating into the market share of the old major organizations. However, because every member of the Akatsuki organization is an S-class rebel ninja, it is difficult to deal with it alone, except for the 5 major ninja villages level. Other forces have no way to deal with them. Now, Scorpion and I are within the vicinity of your team, and so is Minato. This time there was an accident with the Nanao. Although the Akatsuki organization is not in a hurry to collect the tailed beasts immediately, it is still preparing to collect relevant information point. Although the Seven Tails is a cunning existence among the tailed beasts, this powerful tailed beast has no way to hide when faced with various sentient ninjas. The next step is to watch the competition between the 3 major ninja villages. Shiraishi's attitude towards this matter is very firm. It is best for Nanao to return to Takigakure village instead of leaving it in any ninja village for safekeeping. This is the best choice, now that Sunagakure is temporarily unable to recover it. Whether it is Iwa Ninja, Konoha or Shirogakure, Sunagakure does not allow them to have more tailed beasts, especially in order to achieve the best effect in controlling tailed beasts. Shirogakure village is Sunagakure's most defensive target point. Deidara, who was holding the blue dragon ring, suddenly asked, then there is another question. Is it necessary to take action against Scorpion? Scorpion is Sunagakure's wanted criminal, and is also a very important tie for Chiyo. As the main body, Shiraishi shook his head, after thinking again and again. The sentient ninja inside Akatsuki may be nearby, so don't act rashly for the time being. Deidara, your identity cannot be exposed. As a chess piece placed within Akatsuki, Deidara's role is crucial. Regarding Scorpion's arrest, Shiraishi will make arrangements in the future, not now. Uchiha Kid, Shirogakure has secretly surrounded you. Who will fight next? You or Uchiha Itachi? Hagoromo. Minato, who had been silent all this time, suddenly spoke, with a strong fighting spirit in his eyes. Although the two of them were split bodies, they had little communication due to the hostility of blood in their own bodies. This time Hagoromo Manto took the initiative to speak. Uchiha Kid shook his head. My kaleidoscope consumes a lot of energy. The loss is the mental power of the 5 of us. Let this guy Uchiha Itachi take action. Uchiha Itachi's strength and ability still need to be further collected, so Uchiha Kid chose to let him come forward to deal with it. After hearing this, Hagoromo Shinto nodded and said no more point. Even if he wanted to fight Uchiha Kid again, everything must be based on the overall situation point in real time. Following Hagoromo Manto's reminder, Uchiha Kid's 3 Magatama Sharingan slowly emerged, staring at the changes in the surrounding environment and noticing Uchiha Kid's actions. The rest of the Konoha team also began to be cautious. Nanao's aura was getting closer and closer to the moment, so some surprises would naturally occur, and following Uchiha Kid's actions, the Konoha team immediately went on alert point. Suddenly, a vast electric light appeared on the ground, sweeping directly across the Konoha team in front of them. The blocking barrier formed by the electric light made Uchiha Kid and Uchiha Itachi each take a step back, only to see a silver figure whizzing past. It's Hagoromo Manto, a contemporary genius of Kumoin village. He is hailed by the Kumo ninja as the successor of the Amanuma spear, recognized by the Sage of Six Paths. In fact, the staff in the hand of Hagoromo Shinto, in a sense, belongs to the Amanuma spear like the Shinto heavenly sword. But the latter becomes Shiraishi's own heavenly sword in Shiraishi's hands, and the staff is still Six Paths Sage Ninja tool. The moment the Amanuma spear appeared, Uchiha Itachi reacted very quickly. His Sharingan eyes stared at the opponent. At the same time, countless chakra lines appeared on his palm, cutting them instantly. Water Silk Chakra Thread. Ever since Shirogakiji demonstrated the powerful style of Water Silk Chakra Thread during the 5-Kage conference, every village has been popularizing and learning this simple and practical ninjutsu. In addition to the fire attribute chakra, Uchiha Itachi is also proficient in the 5 chakra attributes of water, wind, yin and yang. He is a genius among geniuses. In addition to his own fire escape, the main water escape practice is the Water Silk Chakra Line host. The water thread shot out quickly, forming an airtight blockade in Uchiha Itachi's hand, forming a surrounding posture around the thunder release user Hagoromo Manto. However, he saw the latter's 6-path staff turning around, and Hagoromo Manto, holding a rosary, looked pure. Piran's power of 6 paths combined with the special lightning escape light, suddenly opened a bright wave of light in the chaotic sky in front of him. The domineering lightning was raging, but it was seen that Uchiha Itachi's water silk chakra line used softness to overcome strength and firmly blocked Hagoromo Minato's offensive. This Uchiha Itachi is indeed difficult to deal with. Uchiha Itachi and Hagoromo Minato were engaged in the first round of trial confrontation. At the same time, Uchiha Kid and others also encountered the appearance of other strong men from Cloud Hidden Village. Although both sides were wearing masks, Uchiha Kid also recognized the identity of another person. Rabbi the eight-tailed Jinchuriki. In the violent impact of the explosion, Uchiha Itachi was seen attacking in an instant, and the water-threaded chakra line instantly wrapped around Amasaurus' spear. At the same time, Uchiha Itachi came with a punch, and Hagoromo Shinto saw this and quickly turned around to block it. In a small space, the two of them fought continuously and collided continuously, using the close quarters methods and skills they had learned to the extreme. Sometimes there were fierce sounds, and sometimes there was a silent entanglement that was thrilling. When the battle was in full swing, Minato Hagoromo used a part of his mind to monitor the slightest movement. He used Thunder Release to form a special magnetic field to predict his opponent's next move. In the battle with Uchiha Itachi, he used his ability to gain the upper hand many times, but Uchiha Itachi was also very tenacious in close combat. Reading www.ukanshu.net. However, at this time, Hagoromo Minato clasped his palms together, and thunder sounded on the ground. The beam of light formed by the thunder cloud blasted down directly from high altitude. At this time, Uchiha Itachi's surrounding water chakra lines condensed again, and combined with his own fire release go fireball technique, turned into an explosive steam impact. Although both sides knew the identity of the other party, neither Konoha nor Kumo Ninja revealed it. Except for Uchiha Kid, Uchiha Itachi, Kiribi, and Hagoromo Shinto, the numbers of the two sides were equal. Due to taking into account some other factors, the battle rhythm it's not too intense, even a little gentle. Missions in peacetime rarely involve life and death battles. Even if there is a mission conflict between the two major ninja villages, they will not kill them. Lop. No master, are you sure there is that delicious northern black wild boar in this barren mountain area? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Hearing Lopner's words, Kakashi rolled his eyes. This guy has been looking for so-called delicacies every day during this period. It's impossible for him to be so luxurious. Unknowingly, Lopner's caravan approached the area where the Kumo Ninja and Konoha Ranbu were fighting. Chapter 303, Kakashi's show-off moment. As the person in charge of Konoha, Kakashi was a little speechless about Lopner's obsession with finding the so-called wild boar, but he still allowed him to continue his nonsense. 3 inches of human space. The mission has become like this, so it is a good choice to accompany him to play. Not to mention that this Lopner master is not as simple as it seems on the surface. What is his real purpose in doing things is still under investigation. When Konoha arranged to mobilize manpower to capture the wild boar, a beam of light formed by a huge thunder cloud in the distance illuminated the area, causing Kakashi's expression to change slightly. There are ninjas fighting ahead. Could it be that movement just now? Is there a fight between ninjas in front? Asuma and Yuhi Kuronoi walked over together, but saw Kakashi shaking his head. I'll go check it out first. You stay here to protect Mr. Lopner. Kakashi, who had his Sharingan eyes opened and strengthened his visual detection ability, disappeared in an instant. However, at the same time that Kakashi disappeared in an instant, a sudden change occurred outside the caravan, and 6 shadows suddenly appeared, rushing into Kakashi holding a kunai. Directly attacking the Lopner carriage. There is an enemy attack. Yuhihang and Asuma quickly entered a state of preparation for war. Yuhihang quickly stuck to the side of Master Lopner in the carriage, always alert to the movements of the surrounding enemies. Whereas Kakashi, Asuma, quickly formed a seal, holding smoke in his mouth, and turning it into his own offensive fire escape technique. Fire release, ember burn. Ember burning is a ninjutsu that Asuma created while smoking. It spits out hot clouds of ash from its mouth, inflicting 3rd-degree burns on the opponent. Because it spits out ash instead of flames, it can maintain and burn in the air for a period of time and surround the enemy. It is a distance type B-level ninjutsu. Filled with smoke and flames. 6 mysterious former ninjas dispersed Although Lopner was not nervous about these attackers, his eyes showed a deep gaze. These 6 ninjas are a special group of 6 people in the underground black market. Although their hiring price is not as expensive as that of the Akatsuki organization, they are still among the top killer groups. Konoha will test itself, but it will never send out such a notorious ninja combination. If it is not Konoha, then it is the arrangement of forces from within the kingdom of Wind Point. Could it be that the Bideo family was really forced to this point by the Lowland Chamber of Commerce? Their hostile attitude towards the Lowland Chamber of Commerce has escalated to the point of hiring such a group of people to attack Lopner. The Lowland Chamber of Commerce and Lopner are evil. A few years ago, Beishi began to support the Lowland Chamber of Commerce and use the Lowland survivors' mentality of returning to the country to organize this group of people to form a business force no less than that of the Bideo family. This time Lopner appeared in Sand Hidden Village. It was indeed, as previously reported, to ask Kazekage Shiraishi to support the development of their newly developed military ninja tools, which included a rare ore material project produced in the land of Frost Point. Whether it is the Lowland Chamber of Commerce or the Bideo family, Shiraishi uses them as a means to contain each other. Sunagakure village's own strength is not stable and solid enough. Before the young generation it cultivates has grown up, it must use this method to control the domestic situation. The real Lopner is still settled in the Kazekage office in Sand Hidden Village. However, Lopner's every move in the Land of Fire during this period has attracted the attention of the Bideo family, so a real assassination operation was arranged. The strongest of the 6 is ninja, and the weakest is ninja. Although they are wandering ninjas, it is too much to force Asuma to deal with it alone. The son of the third Hokage. The entire caravan fell into chaos, and more than a dozen warriors from the damning mansion stepped forward to guard Lopner in their hearts. Miss Han, go help your companion. It's a mission. Although Kurenoi Yuhi is very nervous about Asuma's situation, as a ninja, the first professional requirement is to complete her mission and responsibilities. At this time, the atmosphere of Konoha and her mission companion are more important. Lopner shook his head. With your joining, we can turn the tide of the war. Otherwise, if they kill us mad again, after they defeat us mad, our chances of winning will be even lower. The mission is indeed important, but our companions cannot give up. Seeing Lopner's persistence, Yuhi Kurenoi, who cared about her lover, jumped into the battlefield and shot out Kune to support Asuma. At the same time, she saw 2 ninja level lurkers appearing behind Lopner. Master, be careful, as the bodyguard of the daimyo of the Land of Fire. Although he is just an ordinary samurai, he also has certain chakra application abilities. Therefore, when faced with the attack, the young samurai quickly drew his sword to block the attacker. Caught death. When the traitorous ninja saw that there was a samurai doing something bad, he quickly formed seals and sprayed out a stream of flames. However, he saw Master Lopner's eyes flashing, and he released a storm of airflow, instantly blowing away the fire escape. At the same time, his fingers shot out chakra lines to control the samurai who was protecting him. The samurai controlled by Lopner's chakra line suddenly drew his sword as fast as lightning. While the rebel ninja was still shocked why the fire escape failed to be blown away, the samurai's long sword had successfully pierced his chest. Why can't I control my body? Lopner's control skills are different from ordinary puppetry. The chakra line is not the main control method, but only serves as a current sensing line. Lopner's real method of controlling him is to condense countless thunder escapes into small commands to continuously control this person. Samurai body. These command currents filled the warrior's body, controlling every nerve in his body. Even his words and even his tone and demeanor seemed to be out of his control. As blood dripped down, the face of another rebel nin changed drastically, and he fired countless hidden weapons from his hand. However, he saw that the second samurai was also controlled by an inexplicable force, and he was killing him with a long sword at an extremely fast speed. This group of warriors all fought bravely, which made Yuhi Kurenoi and Asuma look sideways. Not only did they successfully suppress the 2 attackers, they also defeated them step by step, and the battle situation took a turn. The guards under Damning Mansion, UU Reading www.ukanshu.net. When did they become so powerful? When the 2 were confused, the 6 rebel ninjas knew that they could not successfully capture the son of the Lowland Chamber of Commerce. When they chose to retreat, they saw a flash of lightning coming out. Kakashi did not know when he appeared, and the grenade cut quickly. Stab an enemy in the heart. Kakashi, who turned back from the road, looked at the remaining 5 rebel ninjas with a cold face, and the light condensed by the grenade escape became brighter and hotter. Under the light of the electric current, Kakashi looked very capable and expert. He killed a rebellious nin instantly, and then slowly walked forward. I'm sorry, it was my negligence that caused the young master to be almost in danger. Lop. Nurse scratched his head and laughed. I don't blame you, Mr. Kakashi. In fact, we can handle them even without warriors like you. PS. Let's get some recommendation votes and subscriptions. I've been a bit crazy lately. This book comes from //46,570/ If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 304, Sunshine and Fire. Time goes back to when Kakashi went to support at the same time as Uchiha Itachi and Hagoromo Manto were fighting fiercely. Kirby was also fighting with Uchiha Kid. As the 4th generation Raikage's partner and adopted brother, he was also the Eight Tails Jinchuriki. He is a being who can completely control the Eight Tails. He is extremely powerful and loves rapping and having fun. Kirby has dark skin and light yellow hair, wears black sunglasses, carries 7 knives, has iron characters on his right shoulder, and horn marks on his left cheek. He speaks in a rap accent most of the time, although his personality looks very funny. But there is also a calm and cautious side in battle. He usually likes to hold concerts and let his apprentices sell tickets, but often only his apprentices attend the concerts. Only Kirby can achieve this kind of personality. According to historical traditions, every Raikage in Shirogakure village must have a partner. After AI became a Raikage candidate, the 3rd Raikage recruited a large number of new generation ninjas. Only one of them can inherit the name of Hibi. While the Raikage can perform his best, he also has to serve as the Raikage's guard. This is B's important responsibility. During this period, Dode served as the examiner for the Xianyu Thunderplow Hot Knife ability test and was responsible for testing their coordination with AI. They were required to use the Junyu Thunderplow Hot Knife to break the neck of the rubber doll together with AI. The same force must be applied to the left and right at the same time. Only with the strength can we succeed, but there are very few who succeed. The Sandaime and Dode were full of expectations, but were disappointed. At this moment, the Sandaime and Dode saw hope. Kirby and AI successfully cooperated. From then on, B became AI's brother. The bond between him and AI has been cultivated since childhood. It is indestructible and their relationship is better than that of brothers in the 3rd Ninja World War. The AB combination shocked the ninja world with its powerful thunderplow and hot sword, and successively defeated many ninjas such as Konoha and Iwagakure. During the night's rest, AI asked B to eat more pork legs in order to make Bikuariki grow up and gain more strength. After all, the current Junyu Thunderplow Hot Knife was not what AI was most satisfied with. Now AI was just cooperating. The power of comparison. Due to the death of the previous 8-tailed Jinchuriki, Burubi, Shirogakure strategic needs, in order to maintain the balance of the tailed beasts and protect the country from invasion, the 3rd Raikage and Raikage candidate AI finally decided to seal the 8 tails into B's body. He is the first Jinchuriki to be able to completely control a tailed beast, and is much more powerful than he would be without the power of the 8 tails. What moved the 8 tails and his brother Raikage AI was that as a Jinchuriki, Hibi always maintained a positive and optimistic attitude despite being ignored and ostracized by the villagers countless times later. He was respected by countless villagers, making Kirby an extremely rare existence among Jinchuriki. Soon after, under the leadership of AI, there was a fierce battle with Namake's Minato. During the battle, AI was able to escape by using the tentacles of the 8 tails. Minato saw that there was something incredible in Kirby and told AI that he should be rescued as soon as possible. Discover, however, in his youth, AI failed to understand the true meaning of Minato's words and continued to attack him, but Minato successfully dodged it. the battle between the two came to an end, but Kirabe always cared about Minato Namikaze's words during the Third Ninja War. The third generation Raikage died of exhaustion trying to protect the village. AI was heartbroken and then took over the title of Raikage Point as the Raikage. He wanted to protect the village and the country and inherited the will of the third generation. AI asked B to enter the Cloud Thunder Gorge to start training the tailed beast Tama and vowed not to let the enemy harm Kirabe Point. He then ordered B to be strictly prohibited from leaving the village and told B to use the tailed beast Jade to defeat them from a distance if enemies invaded. However, this time it concerned the Nanao, and Hagoromo Manto was always a potential threat to the Raikage, so someone was needed. Monitor it. Point. Although Kirabe is usually very unconventional, he still cares about his brother Raikage. He knows that Minato Hagoromo is a very insidious guy, so he takes the initiative to assume his responsibilities and becomes a member of this team. Uchihaki did not dare to underestimate such an enemy, but the current attack speed and intensity were very mediocre, and it was obvious that his condition was not good. As if sensing Uchihaki's gaze, Kirabe spoke first. Sharingan boy, you are not in good condition, isn't it the same for you, too? Lazy to pay attention to Kirabe, Uchihaki's Sharingan and Magatama were rotating at high speed, and the power of the flames expanded to the extreme, turning into a terrifying heat wave torrent. Under the impact of high temperature, a dazzling light exploded in midair. However, Kirabe was seen to be very fast. Kirabe was not to be outdone when he saw this. The 7 swords on his body were dancing rapidly, showing the unique ninjutsu of Union Village. Uang Linglu cuts the knife, using various parts of the body and physical skills. The 7 knives are flexibly used. Their unpredictable and fast knife skills make it difficult for people to guard against and unable to see clearly. This technique is just Kirabe's basic technique. If it is added with a supersonic thunder sword or tail beast transformation, its speed and strength will be enhanced again. It is an A-level physical technique. Facing Kirabe's extremely fast attack, Uchihaki remained motionless as a giant fireball condensed from his palm and suddenly released a terrifying high temperature airflow that was like an explosion, shining on the sky. In the main Gekkai Sharingan mode, Uchihaki can activate the 2 awakening characteristics of Special Ending Place and Turbine Flame. Although it is now in the 3 Magatama Sharingan mode, although the Sharingan's ability has weakened, it retains the residual power of its characteristics. The ability of the ending land has become sunlight, and the turbine flame has become a fire generating characteristic. Uchihaki's pair of Sharingan uses the power of pure and domineering fire. As his 3 Magatama rotates, the power of fire and the power of sunlight combine to illuminate the sky brightly. Is this a variation of the fireball technique? Several Konoha and Kumogakure present had never seen this ability, so they speculated that it was a variation of the Uchiha clan's powerful fireball technique. The power of sunlight and the power of igniting fire were perfectly integrated and turned into a crimson sun envelope. The powerful fireball began to release countless fire snakes, and the surrounding forest area began to spread fire little by little. Fire rain poured down, burning many areas. Uchiha showed a domineering attitude when he made a move. This move did not distinguish between friend and foe, and even the battle between Uchiha Itachi and Hagoromo Shinto was affected. The vast rain of fire came raging, and Kakashi, who had appeared in an instant, screamed secretly when he saw this scene, because he found that the battle for the 7 tails was ahead, and the caravan on the other side of Lopner. Uchiha, are you crazy? Sorry, I can't control this super powerful fireball technique. Uchiha's apology had no effect at all. The fire almost burned the entire forest area. Nanao seemed to be aware of the danger, and his aura began to disappear little by little. Thinking of this, Kakashi returned the same way and saw the scene where Ryuki instantly killed his opponent. Kakashi knew very well that he could not linger here any longer because the terrifying sun was spreading unbridled. Is this guy Uchiha crazy? He created such an uncontrollable destructive ninjutsu. Even Uchiha Itachi frowned. He didn't understand why Uchiha was so crazy and used such a method to deal with the enemy. Mr. Kakashi, are you setting off fireworks in the back? They're really beautiful. Now, Kakashi was embarrassed. Although Konoha's ninjas were Anbu, the Uchiha family Sharingan and the art of creating such a huge round of fireballs were so obvious that they couldn't deny that they were not Konoha ninjas. Obviously Mr. Lopner seems to be obsessed with this issue. Reading www.ukanshu.net. Kakashi explained vaguely, the ninjas of Konoha are performing tasks and may have conflicts with Anbu from other villages. No looked at Kakashi amusedly, but why didn't the Konoha ninjas chase those Anbu from other villages? Instead, they flew towards us with fireballs. Mr. Kakashi, behind me are the most valuable trade materials. Once if something goes wrong, you need to compensate. The giant crimson fireball swept over as if it was the end of the world. The rebel ninja who had just retreated suddenly collided with Uchiha Kide's red sun and were directly blown away by the heat wave airflow point. Upon hearing Lopner's threat, Kakashi's calm look just now disappeared. Kakashi senpai, I really can't control this fireball. Damn it, Uchiha Kide, don't cheat me. PS, let's update in the early morning. I'll take a break tomorrow for the Mid-Autumn Festival. Although I have to go to work on the 23rd, this time it's still an early break for me. I've been a little busy lately with a lot of things. I'm relieved at the same time. Then ask for votes. Ask for votes chapter 305. Lopner takes action. Facing Kid Uchiha's out of control Crimson Sun, Hatake Kakashi quickly formed a seal and released a water dragon. However, under the high temperature and power of the sun, the water dragon shattered and disintegrated. This round of crimson red under the combination of Uchiha Kide's sunlight and ignition was too fierce. In addition, it repeatedly absorbed the remaining fire around it along the way. During the high-speed rotation, it was actually larger than the round of fireball when it first appeared. Seeing this, Kakashi was helpless. Under the light of the lightning escape in his hand, the lightning suddenly turned into an electric blade and pierced directly into the center of the fireball. The intense heat made Kakashi take a deep breath. Forcibly piercing the inside of the fireball, although preventing its high-speed rotation mode. The broken fireball still inevitably smashed down. It was like countless meteor showers falling to the ground, falling directly on Master Lopner's carriage, creating a powerful high-temperature airflow impact that swept everything around. A large number of Domingfu warriors were caught up in the aftermath of the scorching sun and fell into a coma after being severely injured. The Lopner man who was hit in the front by a group of fireballs fainted directly. Master Lopner, Kakashi, stepped forward to investigate and saw that Lopner's body was covered in all kinds of charcoal and black. Although he was not dead, he was still extremely dangerous. For a while, Kakashi's head was as big as an ox. You guy, why are you using a technique that you can't control? Kakashi noticed that Uchiha Kide was still alive and kicking, and Kakashi's tone was not nice, even a little harsh. I'm sorry, Kakashi senpai, I really can't control this technique, but my opponent is the 8-tailed Jinchuriki, Rabbi. Besides, why do you appear here? This is the area where the mission is performed. Kirabi, no wonder Uchiha Kide would use this immature fire escape technique to deal with the enemy. If it was him, he really couldn't blame Uchiha Kide. The most important thing at the moment was to save this kind of Lopner master. Otherwise not only the Hokage would cause trouble for him, but also the daimyo. Red, contact the nearest medical class. Yes, over the years, Konoha has not cancelled the arrangement of fixed point placement of medical classes during the Ninja World War. There will be a medical class on standby near every town. If there is a life problem in Lopner, Kakashi does not dare to neglect and immediately arranges for contact for rescue point. While Uchiha Kide stayed with Kakashi's team, Uchiha Itachi and the Kumo ninja team were chasing each other's escaping Nanao point. In fact, it is very difficult for the two teams, including other mercenary organizations, to continue to explore because the entire forest is currently covered with various strange poisonous powders, and anyone who inhales them will be paralyzed. Nanao Shijiki was obviously alert. At the same time, large insect cocoons were arranged throughout the forest to accelerate the hatching of the insects inside and become its soldiers. Although Uchiha Itachi was not afraid of these poisonous powders, several of his teammates around him were feeling unwell, so he had to slow down. The speed of the Kumo ninja team unexpectedly increased. Although the density of the poison powder increased, It also exposed the Nanao's whereabouts in more detail. Point, since it is Nanao, I don't know its strength, but if the overall level of chakra is determined based on the tail, it should be second only to the 9 tails and 8 tails. Although the strength of a tailed beast has nothing to do with the number of tails, the quantity and quality of chakra are divided according to the number of tails. Back then, the Kumo ninja only had a fierce man like the Third Kazekage, who could fight tailed beasts without losing, or even directly suppress them. Point, under normal circumstances, even if they had Kirabi, they would not dare to underestimate the destructive power of Nanao. Point, in fact, deep in the forest, as Nanao kept moving and flickering to avoid these ninjas, countless mucus on the ground slowly condensed together, then formed a strange human shape, and finally turned into the face of Lopner, who put on Hangan's black robe and a silver mask, looked up at Nanao in the sky. "Hey, you are Nanao." Lopner's response was a powerful tailed beast jade energy beam. However, the moment traces of dragon seals appeared in the eyes of the Lopner master, the ancient crane immortal seal was activated, forming a water flow to protect the irises. After years of improvement, the ancient crane immortal seal is no longer just for defense. Lopner turned one hand and activated the seal in reverse. The ancient crane immortal seal turned into a cage of water and caught the 7 tails, but he saw the latter let out an angry cry, and bright red blood spurted out from Kiwa's mouth, turning into countless poisonous mist that spread out, but was cut open by the airflow around Lopner. Seeing this hand, Nanao was also shocked. Point, tailed beasts are also highly intelligent creatures. Generally speaking, they naturally have an evaluation of the strong men in the human world, and a strong man who can easily block the tailed beast jade and subdue himself, and can even disintegrate the poisonous powder liquefaction just now. At least strong people like Uchiha Madara or Senju Hashirama. Point, after a long silence, Nanao slowly spoke, "The power of the tailed beast is not of great help to you, so why do you want to get involved?" "Only by continuing to stay in Takigakure villages in line with the interests of all parties in this ninja continent." Lopner's words were full of indifference and ruthlessness. Nanao was furious after hearing this, and sparks burned from the powder around him. Point, it's useless to talk too much, so we can only fight with our last strength. The scales burst into pieces. The Nanao is seen releasing a large amount of scale powder while flying high into the sky, shrinking the body into a cocoon shape, performing a spinning dive, and crashing into the enemy. When rotating at high speed, it causes a huge tornado and detonates the scale powder, resulting in a large-scale explosion. Point, facing the 7 tails strongest wind escape technique, Lopner's body was slowly suspended, and the storm gathered together to fight against the power of the 7 tails great tornado. Point, exploding wind and frost were raging across the land. When the 2 teams of Kirabi and Uchiha arrived, they found that Nanao had fallen to the ground, and the mysterious strong man wearing a silver mask slowly landed on the ground. The moment the surrounding airflow suddenly spread. Point, ignoring this group of people, since Lopner was dressed like Zero, he was naturally extremely arrogant. He took out the sealing weapon of the divine sword of heaven and directly sealed the 7 tails. Reading www.ukanshu. Net. The Shionum spear, transformed by Yin Yang Dun, is itself specially designed to change at will. Whether it is a battle armor, a sword, or a magical weapon, it can be combined and changed according to the needs of the user. Seeing that Nanao was like a dead dog, being controlled and sealed by the mysterious man in front of him, the scene was a little quiet for a while. Point, Red Cloud and Black Robe, Zetsu, who was following the Kumo ninja, Konoha team and the Akatsuki organization, saw this scene and couldn't help but cursed in his heart. That guy dared to pretend to be the Akatsuki organization. What's wrong with you? After dealing with Nanao, Lopner, who was wearing a mask, looked up at the crowd of onlookers around him and sneered at the corner of his mouth. "Please, your excellency, hand over the Nanao, Uchiha." Itachi stepped forward bravely, but saw the latter sneer, and a storm rolled up around him. "Is it just you in those kaleidoscopes?" After saying this, Uchiha Itachi's expression changed drastically. Chapter 306, The Choice of the 7-Tailed Jinchuriki. Uchiha Itachi is a qualified ninja, and is very calm when encountering such emergencies. The current situation is extremely unfavorable to Konoha. With the mysterious masked man and the Shirogakure team watching eagerly from the side, the mission may need to be adjusted again. The current priority is find a way to retreat point. Although Lopner was wearing a mask, his aura was extremely terrifying. The heavy aura all over his body made the people who pressed him look at him with horror, and they became more and more trembling. Konoha, Kumonin, please leave, haha, what a funny joke, Killer Bees. 8 swords turned into a dancing whirlwind, but Lopner caught Killer Bee's attack with one hand, grabbed the stone with his right hand and burst out into a hurricane. B, you have to be careful, this person is very strong. Not only Konoha, but the 8 tails in Killer Bee's body were also on guard. The masked man in front of him had a power that made the 8 tails very uneasy, long-winded. The sword's light was sharp, shooting out cold light from all directions. Facing Killer Bee's peak sword skills, Lopner's fingers condensed into light, and he used one finger as a sword to block every attack at a speed exceeding Killer Bee's. Although it was only a moment of confrontation, Lopner displayed swordsmanship and taijutsu, which could be called a peerless powerhouse. Uchiha-Itachi Sharingan stared at Lopner's movements, trying to capture them all. Hagoromo Manto turned his attention to Uchiha-Itachi aside, and shot out a bolt of lightning from the 6 staffs in his hand. Unexpectedly, the Kumo ninja attacked Konoha at this time. When Uchiha-Itachi quickly avoided Hagoromo Manto's attack, he suddenly discovered the special family pattern under Hagoromo Manto's staff. Sure enough, they are really members of the Hagoromo clan. The large families that had historically competed with the Senju clan and the Uchiha clan were wiped out shortly after the founding of Konoha, and the remaining clansmen moved to the north of the continent. However, with the death of Golden Horn and Silver Horn in battle, the Hagoromo clan almost disappeared. After Hagoromo Manto was born, although he had Hagoromo as his surname, it was difficult to tell whether he was truly a descendant of the Hagoromo clan. However, with the confirmation of the Samanoma spear in the ancient family pattern, Uchiha-Itachi was able to confirm this one thing. Killer Bee and Lopner fought at a fast pace. Although Killer Bee's sword skills were amazing, Lopner's single finger sword condensation method was stronger. The combination of sword dance and holy sword locked Killer Bee's attack routine. The sword flow turned into countless chakra light blades, piercing Killer Bee's body and blocking most of the body's chakra meridians, announcing the end of the battle. Lopner's strength made the ninjas of the 2 major ninja villages dare not act rashly. After Lopner saw that he successfully retrieved the 7 tails, he formed a seal with his hands. In an instant, the smoke disappeared and left everyone. There is only one person in the world who can easily seal the 7 tails, suppress the 8 tails Jinchuriki, and force the main Jekai Sharingan to fear Uchiha-Itachi. In the darkness, Heniju spoke coldly. Although he had never seen the true face of the man under the mask, he had roughly deduced Lopner's true identity. Who do you think has this strength in the ninja world now? 6 paths pain? No, is it the 5th Kazekage? After Beiju thought for a while, he finally remembered the existence of Beishi Fengying, who had quietly developed the internal affairs of the Wind Country over the years. Although he rarely took action, the world would never forget his terror in a small town in the north of the Land of Fire. Konoha's medical ninjas were conducting emergency treatment. Lopner's injuries were very serious. After being burned by high temperature flames, no part of his body was intact. The medical staff were forced to wrap him with various bandage. A smap. Do you think this Lopner master will be fine? Yuhi Hang was a little concerned about Lopner's situation. Although Asma didn't like Lopner, in her eyes, the young master's impression was not too bad, but this mission turned out like this, which made her very worried. Trust the medical class. Asma didn't care about the life or death of this Lop, nor, but she couldn't be too casual in front of Yuri Hang, so she could only give a few words of comfort. After several hours of intensive treatment, Lopner finally passed the critical period, but it will take some time to fully recover. During this period, he will have to wear a lot of bandages. I disfigured like this. The first thing after waking up, Lopner looked at Kakashi aside. Your ninja used that destructive technique to almost turn me into a useless person. The caravan was also destroyed. Konoha doesn't know how to reply. Faced with Lopner's questioning, Kakashi wiped his sweat and said, Nerashikaku, the squad leader of the jounin class, will arrive in a few hours. Lopner's caravan was blown up, and even he himself was disfigured. This incident made Konoha extremely passive, because the damning mansion had sent people over to express concerns about the safety of Konoha's escort mission point into Kigakure village. The current dispute between the leaders Hiroki and Yanaji has become intense. The confrontation between the two brothers has almost divided the entire Kigakure village into two, and they are constantly attacking each other. Point behind Hiroki is Konoha, behind Yanaji is Kumo Ninja, and Iwa Ninja is watching from the sidelines. Although it is a small ninja village, various forces in the country have gathered to intervene, which shows the current fierce situation in Kigakure village. Point. Although Yanaji has the upper hand, Hongmu has the hero's water as a trump card, which prevents Yanaji from acting too rashly. The two sides maintain a very delicate balance. Point. However, Yanaji and Hongmu have deployed and fought countless times in the village, each time accompanied by a lot of blood. Point. The struggle in the small village was so bloody, cruel, and direct. Compared with the various complicated circles in the great ninja village, the Kigakure village was just that simple. Point. Back then, Kakuzu village was deceived into assassinating the first Hokage. Later, when he found out that he had been tricked, he returned to the village to steal the secret technique and massacred the senior officials of Kigakure village at that time. This is a representative of a simple style. Point. Yanaji is a middle-aged man over 30. He often colludes with young ninja in an attempt to gain the position of leader of Kigakure village, but few people in the village know that. Reading www.ukanshu.net. In addition to young ninja, Yanaji, also there are other external forces helping. Your progress is too slow. In Liumu's secret room, Lopner, who was wearing a red cloud and black robe, spoke very slowly, but sweat kept dripping from Liumu's forehead, and his face became extremely pale. I'm sorry to disappoint you. Ignoring Liumu, Lopner said to himself, then what you fear is nothing more than Hongmu and the hero's water. Yes. Looking at the trembling Liumu, Lopner slowly stepped forward. In that case, I'm going to release the Nanao directly in Langayan village tomorrow. After it consumes Hongmu's heroic water, you will become the village hero. Defeat Nanao and seal it within himself. What? Yanaji raised his head in surprise, only to find that he was facing a pair of strange Mangekyou Sharingan scholar eyes, which made Yanaji very clear in his heart. Point. Becoming a Jinchuriki yourself makes it easier for you to be controlled by this adult. Chapter 307. Two masked men. We are deeply sorry for this accident. As the Hokage's confidant and the leader of the jounin class, Narashikaku came to Lopner's hospital bed. Looking at Lopner's face covered with bandages, he couldn't help but apologize with an embarrassed look. Point. Lopner, who was lying on the hospital bed, struggled to pick up a cup of tea and took a sip. How to solve the loss of the caravan? Konoha will bear the responsibility. With a slight sneer, Lopner signaled his attendants to take out a document and handed it to Narashikaku. This is a list of losses. Please give it to the Hokage-sama for review. Lopner listed various investment projects and purchased materials along the way one by one. The amount of money involved shocked Narashikaku. Point. Although I knew that this guy was spending money like crazy along the way, I didn't expect that it was almost Konoha's total fiscal revenue for a year. Now Konoha's roots can't afford this amount of money to compensate. Point. As if aware of Narashikaku's dilemma, Lopner shook his head. I understand your financial difficulties, but the losses suffered this time are also the losses of the Kingdom of Wind. Sunagakure has transferred the task to you. But this happened. The background of the Lowland Guild is the official background of the Kingdom of Wind. It is unknown whether the loss of such a large amount of property in the Kingdom of Fire will become an excuse for provocation by Sunagakure village. Point. At present, the environment inside and outside Konoha is very bad, and the culprit of all this, Uchiha Kid, has now returned to the village to deliver the mission, and has been staying in the Uchiha clan and never left. Point. In fact, the Uchiha clan has a very indifferent attitude towards this matter. They believe that Konoha led the Jounin Kakashi to introduce the caravan into the Nanao mission combat range, causing it to be affected by the aftermath of the battle. The responsibility for this matter lies with Konoha, the Jounin class, not the Uchiha family. Point. During the dispute between the two parties, Narashikaku arrived at Lopner first and found that the other party's property loss was more serious than he imagined, and he was a little unable to deal with it. Then repay the debt in other ways. Lop. Ner proposed using some of Konoha's own properties to pay off debts. Nerishikaku initially planned to refuse directly, but due to his cautious nature, he directly arranged for the negotiation content to be sent back to Konoha for the Hokage to judge point. While Lopner was entangled in Konoha's main energy, Takigakure village in the northern Takino country was facing a drastic change today. Nanao Shijiki did not know when he would return to Takigakure village, and even appeared in the village, directly carrying out various sabotage activities. Although the destructive power of the Seven Tails is far less than that of the Kyuubi and Eight Tails, the strength of Takigakure village is also much worse than that of Kumogakure village and Konoha village. Therefore, in the face of Nanao's rampage, Takigakure village suffered heavy casualties as the leader of Takigakure village. Hiroki looked at Nanao wreaking havoc in the sky with a hint of pain in his eyes. Sir, the appearance of Nanao must be related to Yanaji, because until now, Yanaji and his team have not appeared in the village. It seems that this matter has been premeditated. Neither Konoha nor Kumo Ninja got the Nanao. How could Yanaji get it? Although the key to many problems inside has not yet been discovered, the poisonous powder sprayed by Nanao has caused the death of many people, which makes Hiroki intolerable. The sealing class tried to use the secret technique of sealing to control the Nanao. However, the Nanao, which had already been controlled by the Mangekyou Sharingan, had stronger temperament and destructive power, and directly destroyed the sealing class in one go. Hiroki-sama, we can't stop you. Knowing that Yanaji was plotting in the dark, Hanmu, as the leader of the village, had the responsibility to prevent this disaster for the village. The hero's water was slowly taken out of his arms and prepared to drink directly. Just when Hiroki tragically faced off against the crazy Nanao, the masked man wearing a red cloud and black robe also encountered an unexpected existence. The mysterious masked man Uchiha Obito, who had appeared on the night of the Kyuubi. The two of them were wearing similar clothes and masks, as well as Sharingan eyes derived from the same lineage. They faced each other like this, and the atmosphere became solid and solemn. I didn't expect that after a few years, you have successfully mastered the Mangekyou Sharingan. Uchiha. Obito spoke with a hint of relief, as if he was seeing an outstanding descendant of the Uchiha family. In fact, isn't this Nanao incident a replica of the Nine Tails incident that he created? It turns out it's really the man you call yourself, Madara. Gently removing the mask, revealing Uchiha Kide's scarlet kaleidoscope Sharingan eyes. Uchiha Obito's eyes flashed. Isn't it rare that you still don't agree that I'm Uchiha Madara? The real Uchiha Madara will never hide in the dark and plan such shameful things like you and me. As soon as he finished speaking, Uchiha Kide heard a bang, as if a bomb exploded under his feet. Countless flames and sparks flew out in all directions, and the vortex energy formed by the fire suddenly detonated. Compared to the last time they met, Uchiha Kide's entire body turned into a ferocious beast in high-speed impact. Scarlet flames flashed, and he appeared directly in front of Obito in the blink of an eye. This world is dark, but you still can't see through it. Obito, who is protected by Kamu, appears on the other side very cleverly. Over the years, Obito has become more and more skilled in controlling Kamu. There seemed to be an afterimage in the air. It seemed that just for a moment, Obito arrived first and got in front of Uchiha Kide. He blasted out the special sealing circle, only to see that Uchiha Kide's whole body turned red color giant sun. The burning flame exploded and turned into a huge air vortex. The high temperature of the sun hit the sun, blasting out a majestic force of flames. The two fought for a moment, and Obito and Uchiha Kide knew that this battle was of little significance, because the script of Takigakure village had already come to an end. Hiroki used the hero's water and fought hard to suppress the Nanao. Reading www.ukanshu.net. However, he could not stop Yanaji, who was secretly preparing for a sneak attack. He stabbed Hiromu's heart with a knife. Under the angry eyes of other jounin in Takigakure village, Yanaji finally succeeded in defeating his brother. Looking at Nanao, who was lying on the ground dying, Yanaji gritted his teeth and a special sealing circle appeared on his body and then connected with Nanao. With the successful operation of the Shikijutsu, Yanaji became the new Seven Tails Jinchuriki. Supporting Yanaji instead of Hiroki means that you are not from Konoha. The Final outcome of the Takigakure village was directly the downfall of Hiroki, the agent supported by Konoha. Although Obito was not sure where Uchiha stood, he was very sure that he must be the spy of Konoha and Uchiha placed by other forces. Uchiha ignored Obito's speculation. I also want to ask you the same question. Who are you? I will answer you again. I'm Uchiha Madara. The overall situation of Takigakure village was decided, and Obito knew that there was no point in continuing to stay, so he disappeared directly in front of Uchiha and continued to show the power of Kamu's powerful space-time ninjutsu. The next step is the heroic water. Chapter 308. Wife is getting more and more sinister. In the deepest waterfall of Takigakure village, there is an ancient sacred tree. Every 100 years, hero water is born, which can increase the chakra of the human body by more than 10 times. A special guest was welcomed today. When Uchiha landed at the waterfall, the sacred tree in the waterfall in front of him seemed to be sensing something, and he felt anxious. The uneasiness of the holy tree caused the peaceful and bright scenery around it to change, turning into a blood-filled sky. The terrifying and cold atmosphere made people shudder. It is indeed a demon tree. This is a small heretic demon. Although he does not know why it is separated from the moon's heretic demon, Uchiha can feel the abundant power of this small heretic demon. Facing the mysterious visitor, the small heretic demon became anxious and began to take the initiative to attack. Suddenly the chakra condensed into a chakra dragon and pounced directly on Uchiha. The fire dragon was squeezed out of Uchiha's hand and quickly collided with the chakra dragon. However, he unexpectedly found that his fire dragon was directly swallowed by the chakra dragon and became part of the heretic golem's own power. What a weird ability. Chakra dragon attacked quickly, and when Uchiha saw this, the flames on his hand condensed into a point and quickly exploded in midair. The powerful impact force rolled up the surrounding airflow and rolled around. The green flames quickly burned on the chakra dragon, and in the process of destroying it, the demon tree launched a second round of attack, with countless chains piercing out from the ground, forming a special offensive. These chains contain special sealing power. The moment the green flames come into contact with the chains, they produce a general effect similar to the sealing fire seal, and are sealed. Seeing that conventional means could not suppress this demonic tree, Uchiha combined the final point of his kaleidoscope Sharingan with the turbine flame, and instantly condensed a silver light fireball with his hands. The small fireball contained the energy essence of the great sunshine that surpassed the sunshine. It was integrated into the flame bomb. Uchiha appeared in an instant and appeared above the demon tree, and the huge fire suddenly fell down. In an instant, the demon tree, which had received Uchiha's full blow, let out bursts of wine, and its body showed signs of withering. It's now, the sealing scroll was taken out, and the moment Uchiha formed the seal, countless fairy chains shot out, entangled the heretic demon at the same time, and forcibly pulled it into the ceiling. Scroll. This outsider demon statue has the same origin as the original outsider demon statue, but it has been hiding in Takigakure village for many years and formed its own consciousness, so it is unwilling to merge with the main body. It can be considered as the second heretic demon statue after the Takigakure incident ended. Yaneji succeeded in becoming the leader of Takigakure and also became the new Seven Tails Jinchuriki. Regarding the outcome of this incident, Konoha and Ninja each suffered a bitter pill and had to recognize the status of Takigakure. In the Nanao mission, the person who appeared could easily suppress Kirabi in the powerful Nanao body. According to the judgments of the major ninja villages, only the Kazekage of Sunagakure village was the most likely to take action himself. As for the clothes of the Akatsuki organization worn by the mysterious man, although the villagers admit that Akatsuki is a very strong mercenary organization, it is not as powerful as such a terrifying force. Since it was the Kazekage who lurked to the northern continent to take action, it was reasonable for their respective missions to fail. The only headache for Konoha was the problem of Lopner. The Kazekage's office has personally sent a letter questioning Konoha's escort mission capabilities and whether there is any discriminatory intention towards the Wind Country business escorts and other unpleasant remarks in response to these things. The Hokage's office sent several waves of people to negotiate with Lopner and finally reached a settlement agreement. In this settlement agreement, Lopner did not suffer a loss. On the contrary, it was able to squeeze a lot of benefits from Konoha. Of course, Konoha did not directly pay a penny, but only exchanged part of the property to the Lowland Chamber of Commerce point. After Lopner successfully completed his mission, he returned to Sunagakure with a bandage. As for the Kingdom of Frost, other people sent by the Lowland Chamber of Commerce took over the matter, and Konoha continued to arrange the escort. For the sake of Takigakure, you personally appeared in Konoha in disguise. I really admire your courage. In the carriage on the way back, Orochimaru, dressed in white, appeared in front of Lopner at some point. He was seen sticking out his tongue, and his body was filled with all kinds of weird auras. Now Orochimaru, although he is only the old snake part of the white snake sage who was devoured, his strength has almost skyrocketed, especially now that he has mastered the sage mode of Raichi Cave, and his various secret skills are very amazing. The more his strength increased, the more Orochimaru realized that the power of the Kazekage in front of him was unfathomable, especially in the state of Master Lopner. There was almost no chakra fluctuation or perception in him, and he was completely the same as ordinary people. The use of inorganic reincarnation is so special. It allows people to change their appearance naturally. Even my own chakra power can be transferred to other organs and sealed. Orochimaru now also has mastered inorganic reincarnation, but how to use and change it completely depends on the user himself. I went to Langdi Cave some time ago. White Snake G didn't fight with you. Haha, there was no conflict between the two of us. Orochimaru lost the best opportunity to absorb White Snake Princess. Now White Snake Princess returns to Raichi Cave and uses the environment in Raichi Cave to basically restore her own strength and condition during this period point. Although there are no other 6 souls to accompany her, White Snake Princess can do things more freely. When Orochimaru came to visit, the two parties did not conflict. On the contrary, they even sat down to discuss their intention to continue cooperation. Orochimaru and Raichid are still dependent on each other and cannot truly become enemies. As for Lopner now, he took off all the bandages on his body and saw that his originally burned body was repaired by the inorganic reincarnation liquid and returned to its original shape of Shiraishi face. In addition, Shiraishi has returned to the White Snake residence of Sunagakure. She said she is waiting for you to return. Orochimaru said this with a very ambiguous smile, which made Shiraishi's hair stand on end. These guys were born to be villains. They were tricked by others several times and even lost their lives. In the blink of an eye, they can continue to cooperate, as if those things never happened. They are really amazing. However, at this moment, White Snake Princess returned to Sand Hidden Village. She was dressed more gracefully and luxuriously than before. She looked like a ripe apple and stared at Ye Cang in front of her. Beishiji, who had completely transformed, looked directly at Ye Cang. The AI family notes that you will forgive the past conflicts between us. Facing White Snake Girl's gentle gaze, reading www.ukanshu.net. Ye Cang took a step back. I followed Lord Kazekage's order to take care of White Snake House, and I didn't come here specifically to see you, sister. Now that he has learned about the return of the White Snake Princess, Shiraishi has asked Ye Cang to perform certain care and monitoring tasks in the name of a puppet from the Sand Hidden Village. It's okay, we can catch up on old times. Just when Lady Whitesnake was about to step forward, she saw Jounin coming in from outside the house with a food box and a gentle smile. Master Whitesnake seems to have recovered as before. Congratulations. What are you doing here? There was a special smell on Jounin's body, which made Whitesnake G feel uncomfortable. Jounin was still looking at Teacher Ye Cang with a smile at this time. I heard that Teacher Ye Cang was on a mission here, so I prepared some special dishes for her. Cooking. As soon as Jounin opened the box in his hand, Beishija's expression became very exciting. If Shiraishi had been at the scene, he would have lamented that his wife was becoming more and more sinister. Chapter 309. What about careerists? In the Hokage's office, the third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen was blowing out smoke and his expression was not pretty. Did the Uchiha clan really not react at all? Yes, the Uchiha clan believes that the jounin class is solely responsible for this accident at the Lowland Chamber of Commerce. Asshole. The third Hokage was furious. Uchiha Kid caused so much trouble, but he actually thought he was responsible. No matter what Kakashi is, He is a direct descendant of the Hokage lineage of Masane Beni. He originally wanted to push Uchiha Kid out for the top tank, but now the Uchiha clan is determined to protect Uchiha Kid. This makes Konoha helpless, and even Uchiha Fugaku directly helped Uchiha Kid submit a transfer order to the Anbu, allowing him to return to the Uchiha clan's internal guard force point. Such a gesture made it clear that the top management of Konoha was angry and helpless at the same time. Who knows that they are the Uchiha clan, and they usually do things in this way. Shimura Danzo looked at the as hen-faced Sarutobi Hiruzen quietly. How much more restraint do you need, Uchiha? Shisu has died in the battle, and there are almost no real masters in the Uchiha clan. This is a good time to destroy the Uchiha clan. Mentioning this matter, the third Hokage shook his head. No, we have to see what Itachi thinks. Uchiha. Itachi has awakened the Mangekyou Sharingan, and is currently the one person Konoha must fight for. Therefore, without being completely sure of controlling Uchiha Itachi, the third Hokage believes that the time has not yet come. In fact, the Uchiha clan was not unaware of how much the Lowland Chamber of Commerce had suffered this time. Uchiha Fugaku had even known it from the beginning. According to the investigation of the Uchiha clan, the amount of compensation that Konoha needs to pay to the Lowland Chamber of Commerce in this incident is almost an astronomical figure. Only the entire land of the Uchiha clan's autonomous territory can be sold to make up for the money. Therefore, Uchiha Fugaku could not handle this matter at all, mainly because the Uchiha clan could not afford to pay the money. Of course, Uchiha Fugaku was severely criticized within the clan. An immature fire escape technique directly caused disaster, and even made the Uchiha clan and Konoha's top officials increasingly hostile. The fireball technique, to put it bluntly, requires enough chakra and control to release a more powerful form. Although you have a good idea, you must also consider your own strength. Uchiha Fugaku looked at the silent Uchiha Kid and couldn't help but soften his tone. In any case, after the death of Uchiha Shisu, the only young generation that the Uchiha clan can rely on now is Uchiha Kid. The family has resisted this incident for you, but we also hope that you will not cause trouble again next time. Stepping out of Uchiha Fugaku's room, Uchiha Kid unexpectedly found Uchiha Itachi, who was returning home. There were many cherry blossoms planted in the Uchiha family's house. It was the cherry blossom season at the moment. As the petals fell, the two of them were like this, stare at each other for a while. As the two of them got closer and closer to each other, Itachi Uchiha was the first to speak. What is your purpose for doing this? Purpose, Uchiha. Itachi looked at Uchiha Kid with a very cold look. With the kaleidoscope, you will not be able to control that fireball, deliberately destroy the supplies of the Lowland Chamber of Commerce, and provoke the tribe to fight against Konoha. What do you want to gain? During the Shisu incident, Uchiha Kid showed excellent fire control methods, which were much stronger than that round of sunshine fireballs. So Uchiha Itachi was sure that Uchiha Kid was deliberately causing trouble. Uchiha Itachi, who directly pointed out all this, was as clear as a mirror. The recent conflicts between Konoha and the tribe were partly planned by Uchiha Kid secretly. Although he was aware of his conspiracy, he was unable to stop it. Until now, Uchiha Itachi still controlled his emotions and kept his mind in an extremely calm state. Otherwise, he was deeply afraid that he would lose control of his emotions completely if he was not careful. It has to be said that Uchiha Itachi is an anomaly among the Uchiha clan, with almost perfect emotional control. Uchiha Kid patted the petals that fell on her body, leaving no trace, and said, I don't have any purpose. Itachi, you really think too much. Uchiha Kid's response was Uchiha Itachi's silence. Seeing that this piece of wood was still looking straight at him, Uchiha Kid shook his head and walked around without paying attention to this guy. I will stop these plots you are planning, Uchiha. Itachi's words were full of determination. This emotion made Uchiha Kid particularly unhappy. He slowly turned to look at his younger brother Itachi. Stop it? I'll wait and see. What should I do with this guy Shisu? Uchiha Kid was Shisu's most valued relative during his lifetime. Although Shisu left with endless regrets before his death, Uchiha Itachi still hoped that Uchiha Kid was just blindly taking the wrong path in the pursuit of power, instead of hiding many conspiracies like this of villains. Itachi, you are still so naive. Everyone has their own position and angle. Give up your unnecessary things. This is a world If you want to change, you must completely break the foundation. What do you mean by breaking the law? Of course the ninja world is unified. Uchiha Kide's words were decisive, and without any room for ambiguity, which made Uchiha Itachi feel a chill in his heart. Longer paying attention to Uchiha Kide, Uchiha Itachi went straight into Uchiha Fugaku's house, only to see his father seeing a trace of disgust and exhaustion in his eyes. When he saw it was him, such a look made Uchiha Itachi feel very uncomfortable. Over the years, his position had become more and more contrary to that of his family. Even Shisu's death was suspected by his clan members, which made Uchiha Itachi almost unable to defend himself. What are you doing here, father? Uchiha Kide is not simple. Regarding Uchiha Itachi's words, Uchiha Fugaku sneered, expressing his disdain. Of course I know that he has his own ambitions. Re-adding what point to Kanshu.net, and Uchiha Kide has never hidden what he pursues, but compared to some people's ambitions, I'm more afraid of the extremely indifferent heart of justice. Having said this, Uchiha Fugaku looked up at his son. The will of fire in your heart is much more terrifying than his trivial ambition. Even this flame will devour the family sooner or later. The father and son fell silent for a while. What Uchiha Itachi wanted to say was pushed back by Uchiha Fugaku, so he had no choice but to bow and leave the house. Looking at his sons retreating back, Uchiha Fugaku sighed softly, feeling infinitely sad in his heart. If you hadn't been for Konoha, Itachi, why would I have relied too much on that Uchiha Kide? Even if his ambition is to unify the ninja world, in Uchiha Itachi's eyes, the so-called unification of the ninja world is just an excuse to start a war, and countless lives will have to be sacrificed to satisfy their selfish desires. However, Uchiha Fugaku shook his head. To you, this is his ambition, but from my point of view, it is just the ambition that a young man should have. Chapter 310, Naval Headquarters. Within the Akatsuki organization, the six-path Painzon Shindeo was standing coldly in the rain without saying a word, looking at the land of rain beneath his feet, with no emotion in his eyes. The rain tiger free technique is a special sensory ninjutsu performed by Nagato. Within the scope of this special ninjutsu, even black zetsu and white zetsu will have certain restrictions on their movements. A sensory ninjutsu that injects one's own chakra into the rain and allows it to be manipulated freely. In Igakure, it rains every week except Sunday. This is using Pain's chakra to create rain clouds and then make them rain. Every drop of rain falling during the activation of the technique is closely connected with Pain's feeling. Because the chakra outside the village blocks the rain, intruders can be sensed. In addition, since this technique reacts to the location where it is activated, the rain will continue to fall until Pain releases the seal. Whenever Pain leaves the village, he will activate this technique to monitor the rain-hidden village. Nagato, do you really plan to take back Ota district from Sunagakure? In the darkness, Obito Uchiha transformed into a masked man and slowly appeared behind Nagato. Obito was a little passive about Nagato's decision. He did not expect that Akatsuki would choose to attack Ota at this time. During the Third Ninja World War, in order to stabilize its own base, Sunagakure insisted on occupying both the Ota district and Koano-Kuni roads in the Rain Country, while facing the invasion of Konoha. So far, the remaining problems in the Ota district have always existed. The country of rain that has lost Ota Ward is not a complete country of rain. Nagato's thinking angle was always slightly different from Obito's, so Obito patiently advised him, but you also need to know that this is tantamount to declaring war with Sunagakure. That Kazekage is very difficult and troublesome. The Kingdom of Rain has always been at the gathering point of the three forces of Iwa Ninja, Konoha, and Suna Ninja. In these years, except for Sunagakure, the other two parties have never given up on understanding the Kingdom of Rain. When Tendo Pain said this, he looked at Obito, who was a little confused. Don't you think I would be stupid enough to start a war with Sunagakure to retake Ota district? In addition to Akatsuki, there are many mercenary organizations in the Rain Country, which can be used as bargaining chips. They can perform some special tasks for Sunagakure, conditional exchange, directly negotiate to prepare for the recovery of Ota district. Shiraishi, who was under the control of Nagato, explained very patiently. When Ota district was originally occupied, Sunagakure had two purposes. The first was to store water in Ota district, which could improve and adjust the geographical environment in the southern part of the country of wind. Therefore, the wind country, in order to complete the development of the western region of the country must control Ota district. Then what's the second purpose? Use Ota district as a stronghold to curb the expansion of Iwa Ninja and Konoha. However, now the Kingdom of Wind controls the entire Kingdom of Koa and is directly approaching the hinterland of Konoha. The path to the Kingdom of Rain is the same as Mount Kikayo in history. It has little strategic significance. Nagato and Xiaonan, who had been taught by Jiraiya since childhood, were much better educated than Obito, who skipped classes. At least they were thinking about things completely differently from Obito. Now Nagato needs to get back the Ota area that Hanzo lost during his lifetime. As the leader of a village, his thinking is actually much clearer than Obito's, and he is clear about what he wants and what he doesn't need. Requesting the Ota district from the country of Wind and Sunagakure is not a matter that can only be resolved through armed conflict. On the contrary, it can be handled through diplomacy and some exchange of conditions. Obito suddenly felt like he couldn't get a word in, so he had no choice but to leave. When did Uchiha Madara have such a narrow vision? Seeing the masked man disappearing using time and space ninjutsu, Konan stepped forward and shook her head a little. She also heard the conversation just now and couldn't help but express her disappointment to Uchiha Obito. Nagato actually had a very thorough understanding of Obito's identity. The name Uchiha Madara is just a code name. As long as he can help Akatsuki at this stage, it is enough to achieve our ideals. Regarding the Kingdom of Rain's request for the occupied Ota district from the Kingdom of Wind, relevant official documents soon fell on Shiraishi's desk. Regarding the issue of the ownership of Ota district, when Shiraishi personally appeared in the country of Rain and reached a cooperation agreement with the Akatsuki organization, there was an agreement to return Ota district to the country of Rain within 5 years, although the time had arrived. Shiraishi did not expect that the country of Rain would actually make a recycling request. However, the leader of the Akatsuki organization offered some conditions in exchange. For example, the Ota district reservoir was still managed by Sunagakure, and the gates were opened regularly to irrigate the southern wind country region. Obviously, the Akatsuki organization knows very well what the core thing Shiraishi needs in Ota district. As for the second point, it is to hand over a basically abandoned town in the Peninsula district in the west of the Land of Rain to the management of Sunagakure. This small town is located at the junction of the Land of Rain and the Land of Earth. Although there are not many people there on weekdays, it can definitely be used as a base for Sunagakure. The card played by the Rain country is nothing more than the calculation that after the core country is fully controlled, Ota district will have basically no curbing effect on Konoha, and the Iwa Ninja position will provide a more suitable peninsula town. This Nagato is very sure about what he needs and what he doesn't need. Basically, Shiraishi agrees with this condition, but according to the process, it still needs to negotiate with the country of Rain in the name of Domingfu. As Kazekage's assistant, Maki felt a little embarrassed and handed the information to Lord Kazekage. The list of 3 new admirals drafted by the Navy Ministry has been released, but Lord Shirogakiji seems a little dissatisfied. The reform of the military ranks of the Navy Department is Shiraishi's first step in improving the entire domestic military and political system of the Wind Country. After all, the Navy is a new thing and is easy to adjust. However, Shirogakiji, as the head of the jounin class, expressed his feelings about the recent series of actions of the Navy Department. Dissatisfied. reading www.ukanu.net. These 3 people are all newcomers who have just been promoted to jounin. Morimoto was directly promoted to admiral. The number of jounin in the entire Navy Department is limited by the jounin class every year, so although they are newcomers, their strength should be no different from ordinary jounin. Mr. Shirogakiji thinks that Mr. Ryoharu Morimoto has his own selfish motives. Shiraishi pinched his temples. Whether you are selfish or not, it just depends on the strength of these 3 people. Just arrange an assessment with Shirogakiji in person and conduct a simulated training battle with these 3 generals. This will save endless quarrels. Yes sir. base camp of the Navy Ministry is built in front of the huge gate of Kusuno country, while the Oni country and the Craftsman country are the corresponding intelligence processing centers and military fortresses respectively. They are also located in the middle area of the triangle. The base planned and built by Shiraishi is used as a sand base. The headquarters of the Hidden Sea Point. This sea base is not a naval base, but a place used by Shiraishi for special calculations and experiments to be precise. These 3 bases were built to protect the maritime base in the middle area of the triangle. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 311, Gathering the 7 Treasures. Ms. Beishiji, we two haven't seen each other for a long time. After many months, when he saw the White Snake Princess again in Bay Snake Curry, Beishi found that the Queen of Snakes was still so cold and unruly, as if Orochimaru's backlash had not affected her. Snort White Snake Princess is furious now when she sees Shiraishi. In the previous account, she contacted Mount Mayaboku first to plot against Sunagakure village, so it was okay for White Snake Princess to be tricked. But recently, the Kazekage Sama's wife is so shady. The methods made her almost unbearable. When she came to visit Ye Cang yesterday, she was given a feast of snake soup. The day before yesterday, she was given a dish made of realga wine, and sometime before that, she was preparing a medicine made from wormwood. All in all, under the pretext of visiting Ye Cang, I kept feeling disgusted, but I couldn't help it. When I saw Shiraishi, all this sullenness was vented out at once. Arriving in front of the White Snake Princess, Beishi handed a prepared gift to the Snake Empress in front of him. The White Snake residence will always be reserved for you, senior. Even if I'm away, I will send someone to clean it up. Bay. She spoke very sincerely, but Bay Snake Princess was already immune to this guy's words. This man seemed honest, but he was the most ruthless human being he had ever seen. So Bay Snake Princess simply rolled her eyes. Tell me, why are you looking for me? Being so attentive for nothing, he must be seeking for himself. Although Orochimaru swallowed the old snake, his memory was eaten alive, and it was unknown how much useful information could be extracted, so he came to look for himself first. Moreover, Beishiji vaguely guessed that another reason for finding herself might be related to her proficiency in the inorganic reincarnation of Yang escape. There is indeed something I need to ask you for advice. Does Senior know about the heretic demon? Mentioning the heretic demon statue, White Snake Princess rarely looked serious. The body of the Ten Tails has appeared once in the Kingdom of Rain. Why do you suddenly mention this demon tree? In the creation myth of the ninja world, the sacred tree is known as the sacred object of creation of heaven and earth, but this kind of rhetoric is a complete joke in the eyes of the 3 holy places, whether it is White Snake Princess, the one from Shigilin, or the old immortal from Myomu Mountain. They all call the sacred tree the demon tree, the original source of chaos that harmed this planet. So, what do seniors think of this thing? The holy tree obtained from Takigakure village. The moment Shiraishi unlocked the seal, a fierce light appeared in Shiraishi's eyes. I didn't expect that the Ten Tails would still have such a spare body alive. Prepare body? Shiraishi was keenly aware of this word and the calculation and intention behind the Ten Tails mentioning this matter. White Snake Princess stretched her body and lay down very elegantly. You also know the relationship between the Ten Tails, the sacred tree, the major tailed beasts, and chakra. The 6-path sage saved the world from the sacred tree, sealed its chakra, and made himself the Jinkriki of the sacred tree, while the Ten Tails body was sealed by him with the Earth Blast Star. The heretic golem is the Ten Tails that has lost most of its chakra, which is another form of the sacred tree. When the immortal was dying, in order to prevent the seal from being broken due to his death, he divided the 10-tailed chakra into 9 parts and became the 9-tailed beasts. However, in the long history, this demonic tree has actually left a backup body similar to a sacred object, like Takigakure in other corners of the world. Once something unexpected happens to the main body, the backup body will shoulder the fate of being the 10 tails. They are both heretic demons, but they are not one body. White Snake marveled and said, the understanding is not bad. Although the heretic golem is a demon tree, it can actually give the user a powerful vitality that defies the heavens. Do you want to use an organic reincarnation to refine this demon tree? Obviously, Shiraishi took out this demon tree from Third village just to refine it into his own exclusive ninja tool. Even the 6 paths sage Amanuma dared to hack it at first, so it is normal for him to want to use it on the heretic demon statue. Yes, after all, the body of the heretic golem is now with Akatsuki of the country of rain, so I plan to refine this part of the heretic golem as one of the 3 inheritance holy places. Raichi Cave does not have as powerful an offensive and defensive system as Myomu Mountain, but the core of an organic reincarnation has led to many practices, one of which is the unique method of refining ninja tools. What's more, Shiraishi masters the core Punisher, Blue Flame, Extremely Cold Flame, Big Sun Fire and other cooperative methods, which are enough to completely refine this tree into his own ninja tool. Bay Snake G picked up a cup of tea and drank it. While drinking the tea, she asked curiously, if the heretic golem is used as the main material, other auxiliary materials are also needed. What do you think, Kazekage? Shiraishi was well prepared for this matter. He once again took out 7 scrolls, and after the smoke dissipated, a pile of radiant materials appeared. As for the auxiliary materials, I have prepared 7 types: gold, silver, colored glaze, glass, trident, red pearl, and agate. Almost both eyes of Beishiji shone, and she quickly walked towards Chizu. Red beads are produced by red worms, and they are called Chizensu, or the pearl body is red, and they are called Chizensu. Zensu is usually light mouse colored or gray, and Chizu refers to pearls with a slight red color. Pure red pearls are extremely rare. Mentioning this matter, Shiraishi smiled and sat down, also picked up the teacup in his hand and drank it. This is also the credit of the Navy Department, although the 3 materials of red beads, agate and trident are common on the sea. The white stone requires the world's top auxiliary materials, so the Navy Department also spends a lot of effort to collect these materials. Walking to the location of the canal, Beishiji suddenly recognized the identity of its original owner. It turned out to be that he didn't expect that this 1000-year-old coral could not survive the passage of time and eventually disappeared. Although creatures of the same generation as White Snake Princess, they did not become immortals and could only survive by devouring the natural power of heaven and earth. However, their lifespan was limited, and they eventually died in the deep sea, and their bodies turned into the top shells, which are now collected by Shiraishi at the canal point. Even for the piece of silver that represents it, the white stone chosen is deep sea mithril, and the other materials are all top-notch configurations in the world. This represents the powerful national power and strength of Sand Hidden Village in the Kingdom of Wind Point. In order to refine this special ninja tool, the entire Navy Ministry mobilized, and within a few months, these materials were collected for Shiraishi. The strength and foundation of the Kingdom of Wind have exceeded the peak period of the Kingdom of Fire. Unable to stand Shiraishi's showing off, Shiraishi said coldly, "Are you going to borrow the dragon beads to help you refine this tree?" "Yes, so what are you going to give in exchange?" When Beishiji said this, she looked at Beishi and giggled. You reading www.okanshu.net. Seeing that Beishi seemed to have misunderstood something, he shook his head directly. "I'm not such a casual person. This shameless guy, I recommend a book written by my brother G330 Room Manager. Congratulations to him for returning to the starting point to start a pit point. Book title: Enable's Majuev Workshop Introduction. Pretending to be a slap in the face? Pretend to be a pig and eat the tiger? It doesn't exist." Roy said that he was tired of staying in the workshop all day long to carve magic patterns. He just wanted a relaxed life. He only paid a few working hours and could get a lot of wages. By the way, he could get a lot of money from the magic patterns. Master and become the greatest magician. Hello! Exclamation mark. Enable. Stop pulling my hair. I know my hair is precious engraving enchantment material, but the hair on a man's head is as important as his moral integrity. You know, even if I, Roy, starve to death today, get no wages, and move out of your workshop, I will never let you pull out a hair on my head again. Haha, it smells so good. PS. Light and funny type. There will be battles, but try not to be cliché. Chapter 312, Guardian Dragon Soul. The loss of Dragon Balls is approaching the critical point, right? In exchange, Shiraishi naturally has something that makes White Snake Princess excited. The refined heretic demon contains powerful energy, which is enough to repair the damaged Dragon Ball. The shortcomings of the Dragon Balls are also a concern for Shiraishi. Although she and Orochimaru are currently in a cooperative relationship, both parties have a lot of calculations and must be on guard against this guy at all times. The pure energy contained in the Dragon Balls has been almost completely consumed. When Shiraishi proposed refining the heretic demon, Shiraishi planned to use Shiraishi to refine a new ninja tool and restore the power of the Dragon Balls. In addition to the Dragon Balls, you also need to have strong earth energy. Speaking of this, White Snake Girl's eyes flickered. The ninja tool you refined should be blessed with a certain amount of earth vein power. Originally, the dragon vein power of Laolan Ancient Kingdom was enough to be used. Unfortunately, the two of us had already used the dragon vein power last time. Now how do you plan to borrow the power of the Earth's veins? I will naturally have a solution to this problem. According to our agreement, when we return, Senior will look forward to the day when the Dragon Ball is completely repaired. Beishi obviously didn't want to tell Beishiji more about the Dragon Vein related issues, but responded vaguely, take the Dragon Ball. The moment he got the Dragon Ball from Base Snake Princess, Beishi's expression changed. This woman was really greedy. In order to repair her own losses, she almost squeezed all the natural power out of the Dragon Ball. Fortunately, I was able to use the Dragon Balls to stimulate an organic reincarnation. Otherwise I would have been tricked by White Snake Princess this time. You and Orochimaru forced the AI family to this point. In order to repair the injured body and spirit, they had to swallow most of the Dragon Ball's power. Do you still blame the AI family for being greedy? Shiji seemed to know what Beishi was thinking and glared at Beishi coldly. He was the one who caused this guy's troubles, and now he thinks it's him who has the problem. Are you really not afraid that the AI family will eat him in one bite? After leaving White Snake residence, Beishi activated the reverse psychic technique and instantly appeared on the sea thousands of miles away in this world. In addition to the special techniques left by you that can be used to summon reverse necromancy. In order to enter this sea area, you must close the 3 fortress gates at the same time and let the sea current stop automatically. Otherwise, anyone who tries to enter will be killed. Wrapped in the whirlpool of the 3 seas, the huge metallic gold sand tower stands above the sea. As the core intersection of the 3 major naval bases, this maritime headquarters is currently the most hidden core base in Shiraishi. There are hundreds of small pyramids suspended in mid-air. With the help of a large number of intelligence systems, this maritime headquarters base has a sci-fi metal feel. Each pyramid contains special electronic components and computing systems. Hundreds of computing systems form a new network computing device. The supercomputing system that was originally stored underground in Sand Hidden Village, as well as the thinking network platform built by most people, are currently transferred to this sea base. In addition, using the triangular circulation formed by the vortex of 3 ocean currents is also a bold attempt by Shiraishi, which is to simulate the power of dragon veins at sea. Since the fall of the Laolan Kingdom, all the remaining information has been basically understood by Beishi. The people of ancient Laolan use their own special magic principles to create the power of the space-time dragon vein, which is now perfectly copied by Beishi. Shiraishi very cleverly used the huge 3 fulcrums to form the force of nature, prompting the formation of 3 terrifying currents in the sea. These energies eventually gathered in the sea below the 3-point core base, and then, through the continuous transformation of these pyramids, turned into man-made objects created by Shiraishi. Dragon vein energy. Some of the remaining dragon veins in Laolan Kingdom can travel through time and space, and the dragon vein energy stored in Beishi is to prepare for the future crossing of space barriers. This is why he established this base regardless of any opposition. Beishi is located in this sea area, and with the help of countless pyramid auxiliary components, Beishi can fully feel that his power and perception are being infinitely expanded. The next step is to refine the heretic golem. The seal of the scroll was broken, and the demonic tree transformed from the heretic demon image showed its teeth and claws. turning into countless vines to attack the white stone. However, countless chains were shot out from the surrounding sand tower, directly blocking its movement. Fairy locks. In this sea area, the connection between the heretic demon statue and the outside world was weakened to a minimum. At the same time, 7 rays of light shone in the sky. At the moment when the traces of the dragon seal of Beishi's eyes were opened, the core punisher's light shone on the demon tree. The first step is to cut off its connection with the body of the heretic golem. The core punisher's beam activated by Shiraishi has exactly this effect. The destructive power brought by the core punisher stunned the heretic demon for a moment. At this time, Shiraishi urged his green flame to turn into a real flame, which directly penetrated into the core of the demon tree. Weird wails appeared from the demon tree, sometimes like a baby crying, sometimes like a woman screaming, sometimes like a man wailing. The terrifying demonic sound caused the demonic tree to counterattack more fiercely than before into Kigakure village. Although Shiraishi was fully prepared, he did not expect that the heretic demon would still have such strong perseverance to resist. At this time, Shiraishi took out the Dragon Ball, a secret treasure from Raichi Cave. Under the involuntary triggering of an organic reincarnation, materials of 7 kinds of light surround the demon tree, forming a steady stream of purifying divine power under the baptism of holy light. Beishi grabbed it with one hand, absorbed the power of the surrounding sea surface, and cooperated with the root fluctuations to shoot a blue light to shine on the demon tree, constantly expelling its negative and chaotic consciousness. Although the root wave is an attack method, its essence is to mobilize the power of the sea element, which can pour the pure natural power of the sea into the body of the demon tree. Reading www.ukanu.net. The most important thing is to erase the consciousness of the demon tree. If the consciousness of the heretic golem is not completely erased, this ninja tool will leave a fatal backdoor in the future. At the same time, after the invasion of the green flames, Shiraishi also introduced the power of the extremely cold flames into the demon tree for the second round of purification. The root wave and the core punisher were used continuously. After a series of complicated methods, the demon tree's consciousness became weaker and weaker, and was finally completely purified and erased. The consciousness of the demon tree dissipates, and the next step is how to use its body to refine its own materials. However, in addition to the 7 materials, to form the power of the holy light, 4 guardian dragon souls are also needed. Thinking of this, Shiraishi took out the 4 clone scrolls of the white snake immortal that had been sealed. In addition to the earth attribute white snake, these 4 snakes correspond to water, fire, wind, and thunder respectively. Refining them together, Beishiji and Orochimaru will probably thank me. Their Yamato no Orochi Senjutsu may not be able to become complete in their lifetime. Thinking of this, Beishi made up his mind to attack these 4 poor little snakes. A special sealing technique suddenly appeared on his palms, and he began to refine them into 4 guardian dragon souls. Chapter 313, Fire Fist Seal. Driven by the Dragon Balls, the 4 sealed dragon souls gradually awakened. Because their bodies were destroyed by the white stone, and the sealed scroll contained a special illusion world, after this period of purification, they returned to their original chaotic consciousness. Beishi took a step forward, and under his guidance, the surrounding sea current turned into a special wave. Under his guidance, the 4 dragon souls headed towards the location of the sacred tree. Little by little, the heretic demon statue was completely refined and returned to the original divine tree posture. The pure energy combined with the light of the 7 treasures gave people a sense of stability and peace. The 4 dragon souls turned into 4 special marks and were engraved on the giant tree in front of them. Afterwards, Shiraishi channeled his yin-yang escape power into it. Successfully cultivating the yin and yang chakra attributes does not mean that you can use the yin and yang escape ability. This kind of miracle that comes from scratch. Even if you have to use the Dragon Ball and inorganic reincarnation in the Dragon Seal Sage mode, you can barely control it. The refining method of the sacred tree is similar to the way the 6 paths immortal refining the Cheyenne Spear. Just when the 7 treasures, 4 souls, and the sacred tree were about to merge into one, a spiritual sharp blade condensed on Shiraishi's finger and pierced directly into the outer area of the sacred tree point. The spiritual blade suddenly took action, directly cutting a blood mark in the air, as if cutting through a special barrier, and saw that the future and the past were cut off by Shiraishi at the same time. The last trace of consciousness of the heretic demon actually used the dragon vein to lurk in the future time and space, but Beishi finally discovered it and took action directly to avoid future troubles with a bang. The last trace of consciousness of the heretic demon statue was completely obliterated by Beishi. At the same time, the sacred tree finally completed the final fusion and refining, releasing 7 kinds of light in an instant, like a cloud shining on the sea point. Although the size of the gradually shrinking sacred tree has become smaller, the power contained in it is extremely terrifying and powerful. The moment Shiraishi holds it, he can feel the abundant natural power inside. White Snake Princess's Dragon Ball also gained the power to repair the previously lost natural power due to the power of the sacred tree. After today, you will be the 7 treasures wonderful tree. As soon as he finished speaking, the 7 treasures tree became even more radiant and seemed to become more powerful in Beishi's hands. Since the world already has names for ninja tools such as Sun Wukong, 7-star sword, and banana fan, you shouldn't mind having another 7 treasures tree. The material of the 7 treasures is a genuine treasure in this world, and there is also a similar method of refining the 7 treasures tree in the records of the ninja world. This can be proved by the fact that Bay Snake Princess was not surprised when she saw herself preparing the materials. Although the ninja world continent is the main continent of this planet, there are also many unknown areas, such as Mount Myomu and Raichi Cave, which are not within the scope of the traditional ninja world continent. In the world of Shiraishi's consciousness, 5 of the 6 mirrors have been repaired to some extent. Compared with the broken appearance at the beginning, they are now purer. Memories are being sorted out bit by bit. The memory fragments of the 5 people in the glasses system are still being sorted out, but they are basically sorted to more than 70%. Shiraishi can learn about 5 wonderful lives through their identities except for himself, the 6th person. The other 5 people are all travelers who have experienced 2 worlds. The only similarity is that they all come from the world called Earth. Then he traveled to another world and became the master of the glasses system. The world where the first master lived was the world where his skill cards were, where he created the glasses system. In the final battle of his world, the glasses system was lost to the torrent of time and space. After the mutation occurred, it experienced several other owners, and their worlds were also different. The glasses system has evolved in the torrent of time and space. When it came into Shiraishi's hands, it already had a certain amount of intelligent thinking. Although it was deeply hidden, Shiraishi could feel its existence. The existence of the glasses system may be just a system, or it may contain other calculations. At this stage, Shiraishi does not have much demand for the glasses system, except for a few particularly powerful skill cards. Most ninjutsu development follows the localization route, such as the existence of the 5 symbols technique of heavenly curses. The backhand that the glasses system is not clear about. Shiraishi never even brought his glasses to the sea base, fearing that unexpected trouble would arise after the power of the time and space dragon veins was learned by the glasses system. In addition to this defensive mentality, Shiraishi has become somewhat curious about other worlds, and is also investigating the true purpose of the glasses system. But from another perspective, Shiraishi also used the knowledge of each world stored in the glasses system, organized and inferred, and began to develop his own artificial intelligence system. The Beishi thinking network is the predecessor of artificial intelligence. In addition to the consciousness of himself and the 4 split bodies, it also stores the thinking patterns and the regeneration cores of various human puppets, forming a huge mixed consciousness network. It opens a window for yourself, but you have to decide the path you want to take. During the refining process of the Kibeo Myoshu, a large amount of power of earth veins was absorbed. In fact, numerous pyramid systems around Beishi absorbed a large amount of power of dragon veins. According to Beishi's calculation, it was enough to open the space-time barrier within a period of time. As for the coordinate world, the coordinates of one of the worlds in Shiraishi's memory fragments are basically clear. Then, let's do a simple test different from the last time travel. This time it is necessary to break through the space barrier, so the power of the dragon vein that needs to be mobilized is almost massive, unless the opposite world also has a stable energy connection point. In an instant, Shiraishi seemed to understand the purpose of his glasses system. In the process of connecting the regeneration core system in his pupils with the entire sea-base system, the surrounding sky suddenly tore open, and the seven treasures tree was projected out of Shiraishi's hand, in midair, turned into a colorful cloud point under the powerful light. There is an unknown world opposite the huge black hole that was torn open. Shiraishi's current physical body is not enough to reach it through the barrier, but he has other ways. Two-dimensional holes suddenly shot out, one of which merged into a huge dark crack, and then appeared in the world on the other side. The deep sea mithril gloves originally made by the Shirogakiji family were taken out by Shiraishi. The 18 gems inlaid with diamonds inside, as well as the regeneration core inside the gems, store a large amount of data information, including ninjutsu scrolls, and part of the chakra energy. Let me look forward to seeing what changes this unexpected variable will have in the opposite world. The moment the glove was put in, reading www.ukanu.net saw a special corpse appear in the dimensional cave opposite in the form of equal exchange point. Living creatures cannot cross the current world barrier unless Shiraishi's technology can break through again. But what if the equivalent exchange situation gives him a corpse? In the rules of the two worlds, this corpse has a very high value, comparable to the high-tech gloves developed by oneself. With curiosity, Shiraishi carefully looked at the corpse that had just died. He seemed to be 185 centimeters tall, with black hair, normal skin color, freckles on his cheeks, and a tattoo of the word ass on his left arm, where S is across a huge hole was punched through the entire body. The remaining scorching power inside made Shiraishi frown. It was such a domineering power. This blow was equivalent to the purest natural magical power at this time. The seven treasures tree that Shiraishi took back reflected a special soul light. He seemed to have encountered something strange when he had just crossed the two worlds, and then he saw an ass fire fist mark suddenly appearing on the mirror that provided the coordinates in front of him. P.S. Please give me some recommendation votes. I've been too salty lately. Chapter 314. Welcome to the new world. After the fire fist mark appeared, Shiraishi discovered that in addition to the memory and consciousness of the original owner, a special soul was also sucked into the mirror. Although he was still in a state of chaos and confusion, Shiraishi was certain that the consciousness of the owner of this physical body had also been brought to this world. It was such a wonderful opportunity that he had just successfully refined the seven treasures tree and brought himself such a great gift. But now Shiraishi was a little unsure about how to deal with the great gift package given to him by this other world. Perhaps it was because the seven treasures mystical tree brushed against that soul that the corpse appeared in front of him. This person had just died, and his soul was still there, so it stands to reason that there was a possibility of resurrection. Thinking of Shiraishi spitting out a mouthful of inorganic reincarnation saliva, the huge power of inorganic reincarnation covered the whole body of the corpse. Unexpectedly, he found that this body still has a very powerful vitality, compared with the body in this world that has been soaked in chakra for many years. Too powerful. The power of inorganic reincarnation quickly integrated into the hole in his chest. At the same time, Shiraishi noticed that the body density of this corpse was far superior to the human body in this world. If the physical strength of humans in this world was 1, then the body strength of this corpse could reach 10. It seems too wasteful to refine him into a human puppet, and the 5 symbols technique of the heavenly curse cannot continue to split, and even if the split seems to be suitable, the fire attribute has Uchiha resurrect him. In the world of thought, Hagoromo Minato slowly spoke, directly attracting Uchiha's sideways glance. Although Shiraishi had the intention to resurrect this person, it was unexpected that Hagoromo Shinto would intervene in this matter. You think so too? As a result of Hagoromo Shinto's training, he has a vague foreknowledge of the future. Although it is very hazy, he is very sensitive. I have a hunch that his resurrection value is far greater than his current state. Then, get ready to start transforming into a living person. The consciousness in the mirror was chaotic and unclear, but Shiraishi used his own perception and did not find the resentment and negative emotions. Overall, he should not be a sinister and cunning evil person, and he still has some resurrection value. Thinking that Shiraishi's fingers suddenly shot out countless water-threaded chakra threads, and the air turned into countless chakra needles, directly piercing into the man's body. At the same time, Shiraishi was performing a very complicated surgical operation. As the Kazekage of Sunagakure village, although Shiraishi's medical ninjutsu is not as good as that of Konoha's Tsunade, it is no problem comparable to Chiyo, although he is still inferior to delivering children. With the combination of inorganic reincarnation and the powerful physical body of this freckled young man, the wounds began to show signs of healing. At the same time, Shiraishi took out the fire sealing seal scroll and absorbed the lava fire that corroded his internal organs. After a large amount of lava fire was sealed, Shiraishi used inorganic reincarnation in the process of repairing his heart, but saw that the heart of the young man who was gradually returning to life suddenly burned, generating powerful life force. They say that the life fire is ignited, but there is no direct burning of the heart. Or is his original strength related to this? During the violent burning process, the heart merged with the surrounding natural power. Although the flames subsided, Shiraishi could feel the birth of more abundant vitality. Similar to the fire controller's physique, Shiraishi, who also contained fire attribute chakra in his body, discovered that the power of fire in his own heart began to combine with the natural power of the local world to form a new power system. Pure natural fire. This screen feels very similar to the first time I used a skill card. It is a form of ability localization and improvement. After coming to this world, although the power of the world still exists, some of the rules have been adjusted. Compared with the glasses system actively improving the skill cards, the special ability in this guy's body adjusts itself and actively compromises with the rules. Perhaps this is also a compromise between the rules of both sides when crossing two realms. After an hour of slow repair with the inorganic reincarnation and water silk chakra threads, he successfully sewed all the stitches on his physical body. Even though he was as strong as Shiraishi, he felt like he was physically weak. I will never do this kind of surgery myself in the future. It is too troublesome. Finally, consciousness returns. Thinking of this, the spiritual blade on Beishi's palm turned into a whirlwind and suddenly pierced the mirror. At the moment, his consciousness was guided out, and under the control of Beishi's spiritual blade, it slowly merged into the young man's body. During the process of consciousness guidance, Shiraishi accidentally discovered some special fragments and pictures. The person in the picture will take the initiative to apologize to others whenever he accidentally disturbs others or causes some kind of disaster to his relatives. In addition, when he uses up the tableau, he wipes it with a napkin himself. According to the scene in his memory, since a brother passed away when he was young, he determined to be a role model for his elder brother and take good care of his younger brother. So he asked the people around him to teach him etiquette. He is a strict self-interested person, but he is a little out of line when doing things, and he will suddenly fall asleep for no reason. He is really a strange person. The last scene in his memory was when he tried his best to resist his opponent's trick in order to protect his beloved brother, but his internal organs were burned to death by lava. Before he died, he asked his brother to convey his words of gratitude to everyone and said with a smile and tears that he had found the true meaning of existence, so he had no regrets in life. This guy is quite interesting. After his complete consciousness returned and his physical body was repaired, a huge golden current condensed on Shiraishi's palm, which suddenly aimed at his heart and caused a stimulating vibration like dense needle pricks. After a cough, the freckled young man in front of Shiraishi stood up slowly. After his eyes reflected the light of the flames, he appeared in a dazed state. It will take a while for the consciousness to return to its original position and the thoughts to adjust and return. Why am I here? The memory is in chaos. Reading www.ukashu.net. I clearly remember that I was protecting my younger brother from being shot through the heart by a Kanu. Logically speaking, he cannot survive. Is this the world after death? He looked up with difficulty and saw a young man wearing a cyan cloak and a hat marked with wind. I saw him picking up an orange cowboy hat with smile and sadness written on it and handing it over. Welcome to the new world. New world. There is no need to welcome it. He burst out laughing, revealing the special white but pirate's tattoo on his back. Where are you from, a rookie? I'm much more familiar with the new world than you are, Shiraishi. PS. When it comes to One Piece, let me mention a small detail here. That is, in addition to Ace's overlord colored haki, when he saved Luffy as a child, he also has armed colored haki. This is mentioned in Oda's official account of Ace's half-life. Because the ability to burn the fruit has no effect on Lieutenant General Doro's haki, so he grew up and mastered haki through hard battles. Chapter 315, Portcullis d'Ace. Portcullis d'Ace is the real name of this young man from another world, a whole new world. After learning that this world was a new one, the young man fell into a very confused state. Although his body was dead, his heart still cared about the world on the other side. The brothers of the Whitebeard pirates, his worried brother, and many more. He could not let go of resurrected again, facing a strange world. Even Ace fell into a strange silence. Shiraishi could not explain why the will of the world would choose this young man. However, since the two met here, it meant that the gears of destiny for both parties were turning. Slowly raising his head, Ace felt his beating heart, with a hint of confusion and uncertainty in his tone. Can I still go back? Yes, it can't be done with the current technology, and it needs to be upgraded in the future. The power of the dragon veins in the sea base has not yet reached the strongest critical point. Only by obtaining a stronger energy body in the future, such as the tentails extracting its physical body, can it be possible to completely break the time and space barrier. Of course, there is another possibility, which is to throw yourself into the glove of the opposite world and convert enough chakra power for yourself. In this way, with the forces of the two worlds echoing each other, the time and space barrier can be maintained longer. Why did you choose to resurrect me, Beishi? Didn't know how to answer this question. Where did so many things come from in this world? He took back the Dragon Ball in his hand and said, maybe you should continue to live. The inorganic reincarnated mucus still remained on Ace's body. Although he was not used to the special saliva spitted out by Shiraishi, he could endure it as he saw these special liquids constantly repairing various large and small hidden injuries on his body. Before you return to your original world, you must follow me. This guy's origin and identity were a big problem. Shiraishi didn't want to attract too much attention from the Six Paths Sage's chakra, so he spoke up in advance. That's no problem. I'm quite hungry. He was rescued by this guy this time. Ace is a very cheerful person and is very aware of his identity in another world. Wandering around casually may cause him a lot of trouble. What's more, Shiraishi had saved his life. Before returning to his original world, Ace was naturally willing to stay by Shiraishi and look for an opportunity to repay his kindness. Repaying kindness. Fire Fist Ace is such an upright person. How much power can you exert in the original world now? Mentioning this matter, Fire Fist Ace shook his head. The power of the devil fruit in my body has disappeared, but I feel that I can still use the power of fire. As soon as he finished speaking, Ace opened his hands and blasted out a fire fist. The huge power of flames burned in the sea. It was as if he was born for flames. Although he lost the power of the devil fruit, but gained the inheritance of the immortal fire. Devil fruit is a secret treasure of the sea, the incarnation of the devil of the sea. After eating it, you will gain different abilities, but as a price, those who eat it will be rejected by the sea and become landlubbers. Before Ace's physical body entered the world where Shiraishi was, the devil fruit had already returned to its original form due to his death, returning to its original appearance as a burning fruit. However, Ace's original body has been assimilated with the power of the burning fruit for many years. The moment he was resurrected in this world, the fire power of the local natural power was directly integrated into his body. The body of a natural fire controlling immortal, the feeling of domineering, has not dissipated. After traveling across the world, combined with his powerful physical body, Ace is in a perfect immortal body state just like the first Hokage of the past. However, the burning momentum of his domineering flames caused Shiraishi's expression to change, and he flashed his body to activate the ancient crane immortal seal, blocking the power of the vigorous flames and preventing the base from being destroyed by him. Wow, so strong. Although it was just a glimpse, the movement speed and skills Shiraishi showed made Ace's eyes dazzle, saying that this guy is cool. Do you still want to go back? If you blow up this base, you won't be able to go back for the rest of your life. Feel Sorry. Having mastered the new power, Ace felt the increase in the power of his devil fruit, and felt that the power of the element in his body was fully released, so he couldn't help but punch that punch point. Although Shiraishi successfully blocked the punch, the power of the fire was comparable to Uchiha powerful fire. This also made Shiraishi greatly surprised by Ace's strength point. Judging from his expression, he was also surprised that his strength had improved. But what is even more astonishing is his healing speed. He can continuously freely absorb the natural power in the air to continuously restore his body point. Even if he had suffered a fatal heart injury, he wouldn't be jumping so happily, and he wouldn't be able to tell that Ace was a dying person just now. Can you please stop sleeping? Halfway through talking to him, Shiraishi was still explaining the basic situation of the ninja world to him, and Ace fell asleep directly. Shiraishi's face turned livid when he saw this, and he shot out a blast of energy from his finger and hit Ace directly on the head. I'm sorry, I do this all the time. Haha. After briefly explaining some of the world's conditions, seeing that Ace was still a little confused, Shiraishi took out a forehead protector and handed it to Ace. Put this forehead protector on before you leave. Looking at the forehead protector in front of him, Ace guessed that it was a symbol similar to the tattoo of the pirate group, and it was because of recognition. But Ace hesitated for a while and made no move. Shiraishi was naturally aware of the small details of Ace's movements, but he didn't say much. After all, they were two worlds. Being able to maintain his ties and loyalty to the whitebeard pirates that he originally cared about made him appreciate him more. Don't worry, it's just to avoid some trouble. Moreover, the ninja village is not a pirate group. On the contrary, it is just a guild organization similar to bounty hunters. Shiraishi's explanation made Ace finally nod his head and wrap the forehead protector around his arm, temporarily covering the ass mark. Even without this forehead protector, I will fully repay your life-saving grace in this world. Everything is just fate. The moment the magic seal was activated, Shiraishi and Ace appeared directly from the maritime headquarters, and the Sunagakure village point appeared in the outskirts of the village. Kanshu www.ukanshu. Net. Ace was very surprised. Wow, is this a space capability? Transfer it directly from the sea to the desert. This guest from another world is not as surprised by time and space ninjutsu such as reverse necromancy. Obviously, similar abilities should exist in his original world. Sunagakure village is now brightly lit, and the village looks particularly prosperous under the nightlight. Looking at the huge and modern city in front of him, Ace was a little speechless. Is this similar to the Bounty Hunters Association you are talking about? Yes, but in addition to managing the village, we also have to manage other infrastructure in the Kingdom of Wind. Build the navy, build war fortresses, build some schools, basic education, etc. Ace looked at this guy with a black eye, and he didn't know how to continue talking. This is not a bounty hunter association at all. Okay, since the previous teleportation location was close to Whitesnake residence, the return route was also at Whitesnake residence. When Ace and Shiraishi returned to Sunagakure, Whitesnake Princess noticed the appearance of a fresh meat that was more delicious than Shiraishi. Haha, where did you find such an excellent body? Chapter 316, Cell Transplantation. The Whitesnake Immortal looked at the young man next to Beishi, stuck out his tongue, and looked very happy. How can this human being have such a vivid body? Before the chakra fruit was planted on this land, the human body was initially very fresh and delicious in Beishiji's eyes. After countless years, seeing such an atavistic body again, Beishiji's eyes almost glowed. Moreover, he has very pure natural power in him, and he has the body of an immortal very similar to the first Hokage. This physique was so pleasant that Beishiji almost forgot about the existence of Beishi for a while, and kept looking at Ace's whole body. Such a hungry look scared Ace to retreat behind Shiraishi. Why is this woman scarier than the one from Nine Snake Island? But in terms of charm, the one from Nine Snake Island is even better. This one is more like a slut. Sorry, this is a snake fairy who has become a spirit. It is inevitable to be a little excited when seeing an outstanding young human being. After Beishi complained about Beishiji, he walked up and took out the Dragon Ball. As promised, I returned the things. After seeing the Dragon Ball, Beishiji suddenly remembered the business. After taking the Dragon Ball back in front of her, Beishiji still couldn't forget Ace. Tell me first, the origin of this person. Unexpectedly, Shiraishi noticed Ace's strange origin at a glance, and Shiraishi was directly told, he is the ninja of our village. Regarding Shiraishi's answer, Shiraishi chuckled, do you think I will believe it, even if this kid is wearing a forehead protector? Bay Snake Princess is an old monster who has lived for thousands of years. The power of nature in this guy is purer than Uzumaki Tamaki. How can he be a ninja from Sunagakure village? I accidentally discovered the humans sealed in ancient times and used the opportunity of refining the sacred tree to revive them. Shiraishi explained Ace's origin in a very bizarre way. After hearing this, Shiraishi rolled her eyes. How come she had never heard of such a powerful person being sealed away in ancient times? This guy obviously had some secrets to hide from him, so no wonder he was willing to tell him the details of how to refine the heretic golem. Then, can you let me see the ninja you refined? The moment Shiraishi took out the 7 treasures tree, Shiraishi's face changed slightly. Apparently she noticed that they were the 4 dragon souls guarded by the ninja tool, and her tone suddenly became sharp. You actually took them, Bay. Snakeheim's greatest wish in her life was to practice Yamato no Orochi's magic and become a sacred beast that transformed into a dragon. However, Shiraishi's move almost wasted all her hard work. She felt uneasy for a while and almost had the idea of taking action directly. But Beishiji quickly calmed down. The fact that Feng Ying dared to show 4 guardian dragon souls in front of him meant that he was not afraid of the 2 sides turning against each other at all, and even used this incident to beat himself up. Looking back, I realized that, even though I had lost these 4 dragon souls, it did not mean that there was no hope of transforming into the full form of Yamato no Orochi. It just required reshaping and fusion of new souls at the same time. Orochimaru and the Kazekage might be less calculating compared with the White Snake Immortal. Bay Snake G has relatively less ambition. Although she has caused a lot of trouble, Beishi still has a use for keeping her, so after showing her strong side, Bay Snake G left with an angry expression. The shadow of a village has a really strong aura. At Ace's teasing, Shiraishi shook his head. She was too complacent. I just asked her to understand the situation and not be too presumptuous. In Konoha village, Uchiha is sitting cross-legged. Since the Lopner incident, he has basically been hiding in Uchiha's house and rarely goes out. He usually engages in various meditation practices. A special needle appeared in front of Uchiha, which contained part of Fire Fist Ace's body cell energy point. When Shiraishi resurrected Ace, when he performed surgery with Water Silk Chakra, a lot of Ace's cells were left behind, including his blood and a large amount of cell tissue, which became the samples for Shiraishi's research point after certain examinations and tests. And after rejection, Shiraishi concluded that Uchiha was very suitable for transplanting Ace's body cells. With the body of a sage and the eyes of a sage, maybe the combination of Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama is the most terrifying existence in the ninja world. Although Ace cells are not as magical as Senju Hashirama cells, they are a pure natural form of fire control and are more compatible with Uchiha Maple Fire Release Point. The moment Uchiha integrated into Ace's cells, the fire escape energy all over his body burst into stronger air vortices, and the Mangekyou Sharingan in his eyes revealed scarlet light. Uchiha could feel that the Mangekyou Sharingan was damaging his body because Ace cell transplantation is slowed down a lot. During this period of silence in the Uchiha family, Uchiha could feel that the conflict between the Uchiha clan and the top management of Konoha was deepening day by day. But today Uchiha received an invitation from Uchiha Fugaku, hoping that he could go and have tea together. The fragrance of tea overflowed. Uchiha Fugaku was sitting in the courtyard, enjoying the tea made by his wife. Smelling the smell, the slightly tired Uchiha Fugaku slowly opened his eyes. "Kid, are you here?" Coming. The wooden door slowly opened, and with a cup of tea, in a small courtyard, Uchiha bowed to Uchiha Fugaku very respectfully. "Lord Patriarch Uchiha, you must have activated the Mangekyou Sharingan a long time ago." After putting down a cup of tea, Uchiha Fugaku spoke with shocking words. Uchiha's eyelids jumped, but he quickly calmed down. The Magatama in his Sharingan eyes slowly rotated, turning into a kaleidoscope that looked like a Fuma shuriken. When Did the patriarch find out? Uchiha. Fugaku looked very calm. Itachi is so wary of you. I should have noticed something unusual about you a long time ago. The last time he turned on the kaleidoscope to cast illusions, he originally thought that this young man was already under his control, but now it seems that like Itachi, he is a variable out of his control. Now that you have the power, why do you still need to hide it? An extra pair of kaleidoscopes is not a good thing for the current Uchiha clan. Oh, both Danzo and the Third Hokage have never lowered their guard against the Uchiha clan. The power of 2 pairs of kaleidoscopes has no meaning other than making the clan members more uneasy and distracted. Uchiha Kid's words made Fugaku's eyes light up. He didn't expect that this kid's mind was much more delicate than he imagined. What's more, there are other unpredictable variables within the Uchiha clan, and that is Uchiha Itachi. He is Fugaku's son. Even though his clan has already parted ways, Fugaku still hopes that he can take care of his Uchiha blood and stay with the family side by side. Counting Uchiha Itachi, the Uchiha clan's chances of winning may be much better. This is the real reason why Fugaku has vacillated over the years. Chapter 317, Seeking Sharingan. As the leader of the clan, Fugaku naturally considered the comparison of the clan's strength with that of Konoha's top management. The current Uchiha clan was not in its heyday when Uchiha Madara, a super strong man, was in charge. Compared to ordinary tribesmen, Fugaku considers many things. In addition to the coup, he has been working hard in other directions, including easing the conflicts between the tribe and Konoha. Unfortunately, since the Kyuubi incident, the cracks between the two sides have become very obvious. Fugaku feels increasingly tired and helpless, as if he is trapped in a dead situation and unable to escape. On the contrary, Uchiha Itachi and Uchiha Ki chose their own paths, which gave them more hope of getting out of this predicament. Fugaku had calculated that before Uchiha Itachi's movements were unknown, he and Uchiha Ki would join forces. Although the odds of winning would be improved, it would be difficult to change the overall situation, so he must at least obtain Itachi's neutral attitude for now. As long as Itachi chooses not to help each other, Fugaku and Kid plan to use the main Gekkai Sharingan to control the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, fully release the Nine-Tails as combat power, and then conduct a surprise attack. The chance of victory may be. Unfortunately, this method will inevitably be opposed by Uchiha Itachi, which is why the rift between father and son is getting wider and wider. As the leader of the Uchiha clan, Fugaku felt desolate in his heart. The two of them had been tied to the chariot of rebellion against Konoha by the entire clan, and could not escape. And his son was completely devoted to Konoha. There is no greater tragedy in the world than this. With Uchiha Kid's promise, Fugaku was naturally relieved. After all, Uchiha Kid was also a powerful aide, deliberately giving Uchiha Fugaku the illusion and accelerating the contradictions and tensions in the situation. Doesn't this accelerate the destruction of the Uchiha clan? Why don't you think of ways to recruit him to become the helper of Sunagakure village? In the thinking space, faced with the question of Ghostlight Heiau, Uchiha Kid shook his head. Most of the people in this clan are unruly and unruly beings, and people like Uchiha Fugaku are actually a handful of alien beings. It is not easy to conquer the Uchiha clan. Even Konoha cannot control this group of madmen whose mental state is often out of control, let alone Sunagakure. The cell genetic data of the Sharingan has been almost collected. If necessary in the future, simple cell culture can be carried out to recreate a new Uchiha clan. On the other hand, Uchiha Kid has felt that his physique has broken through the inherent limits since possessing ace cells. Since I awakened the main Gekkai Sharingan, the system has passively displayed the characteristic interface, which represents the power hidden in the characteristic, which may be very powerful. Mentioning the characteristics in the system, Onideng Heiau thoughtfully said, so you suspect that the blood inheritance of the Sharingan can pull out more characteristics? Yes. Based on the supercomputer's calculations, the main body and I decided to create a special ninja tool in the future. Following Uchiha Kid's words, a 3D simulation prop suddenly appeared in the square of the thinking space. Its shape was quite similar to the White Snake Princess Dragon Ball, but on the surface, a large number of Sharingan eyes were densely sealed. 36 Sharingan eyes form a ninja tool temporarily codenamed Sharingan Orb. It is densely packed with various Sharingan data and calculations, as well as complex blood vessel construction. Even those without trypophobia can see it. My scalp is also numb. The Sharingan orb is a new type of ninja tool that Shiraishi is preparing to develop after the 7 treasures tree. Currently, it contains a special feature activation system that can enhance more special abilities of oneself, or the split-bodied Shiraishi, who has mastered yin-yang escape and inorganic reincarnation, has a unique advantage in developing new ninja tools. While several split bodies were discussing, in Shiraishi's consciousness space, the 6 mirrors with the Fire Fist logo engraved on them finally completed the memory reorganization. A complete life unfolds in Shiraishi's eyes as previously speculated. This user of the glasses system is a traveler from the Earth who traveled to the world of the comic One Piece and became an AV point. Although he knew it was a One Piece comic, this time traveler tried to use his prophetic abilities to prepare to become the strongest being in the One Piece world. Since the time traveled was relatively early, he first defected to the Navy and tried every means to sneak into the Sky Island in an attempt to find the Thunder Fruit. As a result, he stayed on the Kangdao for several years. Because the original work did not record the specific origin of the Thunder Fruit, and the Sky Island was very large. As a Qinghai native, he was not familiar with Kangdao, so in the end he did not get the Thunder Fruit. Waste of years as a Qinghai native. Although he is an outlier in Kangdao, the local residents are still friendly after all. However, he feels good about himself. He deliberately went to tease the girl on Kangdao and was hunted down, forcing him to flee back to Qinghai in embarrassment. After escaping back to Qinghai, he was directly taken in by a pirate ship. At this time, he did not give up and tried to calculate other things to take advantage of the so-called plot. When he was about to fight, he was suddenly swallowed up by a raging flame and died. Due to his hasty return, he didn't notice that the battleship was affiliated with Baroque Works. As a result, Fire Fist Ace was in Alabasta at that time. In order to solve the incident in Alabasta for his brother Luffy, he left directly to attack the Fire. The Fist directly destroyed several large ships of Buckleyco, one of which was his battleship. So this guy was unlucky enough to be directly beaten to death by Fire Fist Ace. This is why in the pirate world, his memory mirror will be imprinted with Fire Fist, which means that the two sides have a deep relationship. The memory has been reorganized, but there is still very little useful information. The only thing to note is that in addition to the plot of One Piece, the world of Naruto is also mentioned. However, his understanding of the plot of the Naruto world is still very limited, and he only has some general plot flow directions. Although Shiraishi learned that this place also evolved from the manga world, he was not surprised. Since this world really exists, there is no need to worry about whether it is a manga world. What's more, in the memory of Naruto, Yu Kanshu www.ukanshu.net does not have any plot about himself. Obviously, his appearance has already changed the original story direction of this comic. For the current world, the existence of the character Shiraishi is to recreate this world viewpoint. After the first mirror was reorganized, Shiraishi turned his attention to the remaining mirrors. It was obvious that the world inside each mirror was different, and Shiraishi was in a trance for a while. Is it possible that next time I can use the mirror to memorize the coordinates and open the space barrier? Maybe I can also see those who have just died in other worlds. The idea is good, but considering the principle of equal exchange, it must at least be of the same level as the deep sea mithril gloves. Senior Orochimaru in Shiraishi's office. Just as Orochimaru's Kyonin ninja appeared, Shiraishi asked with great interest, after so many years, "Are you still insisting on the plan to collapse Konoha?" Haha, this plan is still in the planning stage. I plan to unite with Iwa Ninja in the future Chunin exams. That old guy Noki might not be the opponent of Orochimaru who devoured White Snake Senin. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 318, I'm here to apply for the Navy. The Konoha collapse plan is a fateful decision made by Orochimaru in the Third Hokage. Although the current history of this world is different from the history of comics, this matter is probably unavoidable. The information about future Yamato and the plot in the so-called comics can all corroborate each other, allowing Shiraishi to understand the ins and outs of this matter in detail. Shiraishi, who has been a Kazekage for many years and is used to thinking and calculating, is banging on the table, calculating what kind of benefits he can get from this incident. Even Orochimaru admired this thoughtfulness and depth, but he was not in a hurry at the moment and was drinking the prepared tea in a very leisurely manner at present. He has not left Akatsuki, but he has begun preparations for the construction and planning of Sound Ninja Village. He has stored strength in a large number of bases, including Shinokuni, and is currently gathering them little by little at Sound Ninja Village to become his base camp. Sunagakure also invested some help in the construction of Sound Ninja Village. For example, Shiraishi gave Orochimaru 4 of the strongest dragon puppets in Sand Hidden Village, which was enough to arm Sound Ninja Village to the teeth. The giant dragon puppet that can spray-tailed Beast Jade is the most powerful weapon in the current war. Konoha and Kumogakure have also made certain imitations of similar puppets. Although they can also spray-tailed Beast Jade energy, they have the Sunagakure version of the dragon with the blessing of Dragon Vein technology, with better recovery and flexibility. In addition to the dragon puppets, Sunagakure has also developed various types of arms and functional puppets to form a very total war legion. As one of Shiraishi's most important allies, Orochimaru enjoys the full support of Sunagakure Village. At the moment, Orochimaru actually knows about the 4 Whitesnake clones being refined by Shiraishi, but compared to Whitesnake Princess, he is not as obsessed with the Yamato Orochi immortal technique. The only thing that interests him now is the powerful blood inheritance powers of the Rinnegan and the Sharingan. As his research on genetic bioengineering deepened, he gradually discovered something that excited him. He loves all kinds of forbidden arts and keeps moving forward on the path of exploration. Now, although he has obtained the memory and power of a sage, his physical body is not very satisfactory to him, so he covets the reincarnation body of the reincarnation eye and the Sharingan eye. And if Orochimaru wants to use it, he will use the best. He really doesn't like the Sharingan in general. Although he has long since left Konoha, he still has many deals with Danzo, one of which is a Sharingan. For the Sharingan matter, Danzo has contacted him many times to discuss the possibility of transplanting more Sharingan eyes. This matter is too simple for Orochimaru. Having mastered the cell cloning technology, it has the ability to cultivate and wholesale a certain amount of ordinary 3 Magatama Sharingan. However, most of the Sharingan cultivated under biotechnology will only become the decorations on Danzo's arms at most. To exert stronger power, stronger blood and soul power are needed. Uchiha Itachi and Uchiha Kid are Orochimaru's prey, and they are his ideal containers among them. About the identity of Uchiha Kid, Orochimaru tested Shiraishi many times, but never received a positive reply. After a long time, Shiraishi finally came to his senses. The power of Sound Ninja Village needs to continue to be strengthened. As the current ally of Konoha Village, Iwa Ninja Village will find it difficult to agree to such a plan. Although Inoki cooperates with Konoha, he is also afraid of Konoha's strength. As long as he feels that he can use the Sound Ninja Village to attack Konoha, then there will be the possibility of cooperation. Orochimaru also has a thorough understanding of Inoki, so he has full confidence in Inoki agreeing to his plan. Where's Akatsuki? Do you still plan to stay? When it came to Akatsuki, Orochimaru sneered, I still plan to stay in the Akatsuki organization for a few more years. After all, there is still some intelligence and information in the Samsara that has not been completely collected accurately. How strong is pain? His abilities still need to be investigated. There is not much information recorded in the ninja world about the power of the Rinnegan, but I think there should be no one in the ninja world who can be your opponent. Looking at the young man in front of him, Orochimaru showed a trace of emotion. The little kid who was hunted down by Tsunadeheim all over the world in the past has now grown to such an extent that even the immortals of the 3 holy places are in awe of this Kazekage. Their R plus Tendo pain is very strong, but in terms of pressure, it is not as good as the Kazekage Sama in front of him. The selection and assessment of the 3 admirals of the Navy Department in Sunagakure Village are still going on. Although in theory, other departments except the Navy Department can recommend candidates. In fact, these places are controlled by Morimoto Ryoji Point. Although the Kazekage arranged for Shirogakiji to conduct the assessment in person, the arrival of Morimoto Ryoji made the atmosphere extremely depressing. Ryoji, the assessment method was decided by Lord Kazekage himself. I understand, but since it is a selection by the Navy Department, I feel it is necessary for me to attend. Ryoharu. Morimoto held a black sword and stood coldly at the scene, exuding a strong pressure that almost made many people breathless. At the same time, the three jounin behind him also showed a hint of cold murderous intent. As the first strong man to master the 8-day calling technique, Morimoto Ryoji and the entire Navy Department burst out with horror, which made Shirogakiji frown. This guy's deliberately embarrassing himself. The Admiralty is really getting more and more presumptuous. Shirogakiji stood up slowly, and the surrounding area instantly turned into countless water threads of chakra, emerging from all directions, forming a huge circular blockade area, restricting Morimoto Ryoharu and the three assessment generals to a limited space. Several staff members who participated in the assessment were amazed, as expected of the squad leader of the jounin class. This chakra line control method is too powerful. Morimoto Ryoji looked at Shirogakiji quietly. He knew very well that once Shirogakiji became serious, these three people were no match for him, so he would appear in person to prevent Shirogakiji from making trouble. Suddenly, a burst of fire suddenly burst into the venue. Reading www.ukanshu.net turned into a raging flame and burned. The water chakra line suddenly formed a vortex of water flow, but the flames produced high temperatures and directly evaporated the airwaves. The domineering flames directly opened a trail of red flames between Shirogakiji and Morimoto Ryoji, and soon one person slowly walked into the assessment site. Ace, who was wearing an orange cowboy hat and a red bead necklace, walked slowly with a sand ninja forehead protector wrapped around his arm. Who? My name is Ace, and I'm the newly promoted jounin in this village. Just now, your Kazekage-sama asked me to come here to test some admiral. When it comes to this matter, Ace is also a little awkward. He is a great pirate. How can he still have the opportunity to come to another world and work as a navy? In fact, Shiraishi made Ace an admiral in the hope of beating the increasingly unscrupulous navy ministry and asking Morimoto Ryoji to restrain his temper. A guy who came out of nowhere and said he wanted to be an admiral. Morimoto Ryoji's face became angry, and he fired a whirlwind sword from the black sword in his hand. I don't know where the wild boy came from. How dare he pretend to be a sand ninja? Chapter 319. One punch to subdue. The black sword struck, but Ace quickly moved back. The flames condensed on his fingers instantly neutralized Morimoto Ryoji's attack. At the same time, he turned around and kicked the black sword away. Shirogakiji's eyelids twitched when he saw Morimoto Ryoji actually taking action directly. Ryoji, don't be impulsive. If he is really recommended by the Kazekage, doing so is tantamount to challenging the authority of Lord Kazekage. Even if he is recommended by Feng Ying, he still needs to have a certain level of strength. Without retracting the kicked black sword, a faint white light suddenly emerged from Morimoto Ryoji's body. In the fourth active state of the 8-day calling technique, a low roar of a tiger echoed in the air. It was obvious that he was driving his self-created naval body. Secret method. Morimoto Ryoji stared at the mysterious young man across from him like an eagle. As his body swayed, his shoulders rushed forward, and his arms stretched forward, exploding like a cannon. Boom. His palms that fit together then opened up, as if they turned into an evil tiger, spitting out a ball of white light, and shooting electricity towards Ace. The Navy is in pieces, although there is no burning fruit in this world. Ace, who also has good martial arts skills, stepped forward, bowed his body forward, drooped his hands, hooked and shook, and the force of nature formed an armed airflow and turned into a blazing flame. The red flames and light flashed at the same time, neutralizing each other, creating a strong wind. Morimoto Ryoji seemed to have been prepared for it. As soon as the wave of concentration in one hand came out, a look of Linglan appeared on his face. He stepped hard with his feet and his body rose into the air. In an instant, he jumped over a distance of more than 10 meters and jumped in front of Ace. His right hand stretched out and turned into a palm knife. Taking advantage of the falling force, it dragged out a pale white light and struck the opponent's neck fiercely. This is the taijutsu of the Tokuri clan. I didn't expect Morimoto Ryaji to have mastered it so much. Shirogakiji naturally recognized Morimoto Ryaji's current fighting methods at a glance, many of which were incorporated into the secret techniques of the Tokuri clan. Master, do you need to stop me? In the stands in the distance, Shiraishi wore a Kazekage hat and watched the battle between Morimoto Ryaji and Ace below. Although his face was expressionless, Uzumaki Tomoki, a disciple, knew very well that this was the angry reaction of his master. No need. I just want to see how arrogant the Admiralty will be by openly attacking Ace, whom he recommended. Ryaji Morimoto has successfully violated Shiraishi's bottom line. Although the Navy Ministry has been arrogant over the years, it is because Shiraishi needs to use the Navy Ministry. Now it seems to be overly indulgent, which will only make the Navy system and Sunagakure even more incompetent. Split point at that time, the Navy Department will be like Konoharachiha, an unstable time bomb, and he must make adjustments to the Navy Department. Ace was unhurried. Strong silver fire burned around him, and at the same time, his right fist shot up into the sky, striking at the enemy. The firelight passed over Morimoto Ryaji's body, causing a slight vibration. His arm swung back slightly, and then softened quickly. Morimoto Ryaji reacted instinctively, wrapping his hand around Ace's wrist like a poisonous snake, and flicked his waist, snapping in midair. He took out his left foot, scratched a white mark from bottom to top, and scratched the opponent's waist and abdomen with an unusually ferocious force. A modified way of using snake ninjutsu. Morimoto Ryaji seems to have learned a lot of secret techniques that I don't know about. Shiraishi's tone sounded unclear, whether he was happy or angry, but Uzumaki Tomoki was breaking out in a cold sweat. Master, you are really angry? Ace ignored Morimoto Ryaji's VIP-like offensive. His weak domineering energy adjusted his muscles, fascia and internal organs, and his arms took on a dark, cold light. The black energy on his arm condensed and followed Ace's fist as it burst out from his waist. Boom. The fist filled with cold fighting spirit resisted Morimoto Ryaji's attack. At this time, Morimoto Ryaji's right hand had wrapped around Ace's wrist, but he found that his attack was easily deflected by the enemy, and he had nowhere to put his effort. Just when Morimoto Ryaji quickly adjusted and activated the 6th active state of the 8-day call to stimulate the body, he suddenly felt the place where his left foot collided with Ace's fist into coke. Fire Fist. Ace, as a great pirate who traverses a new world, is naturally very sophisticated in his methods. Although he lost the burning fruit, he was able to successfully suppress Morimoto Ryaji by combining his own fire-controlling physique with his domineering power. Morimoto Ryaji's eyes were almost blue. Regardless of the danger, he used the stimulation on his body to forcefully twist his waist, then kicked, using offense instead of defense to thrust his right foot horizontally, continuing the previous killing momentum. Ace's body instinctively sensed that when he twisted his waist, he had already shrunk the range of his burning flames and squatted down, just in time to avoid the attack. Then the flames spurted out from under his feet. His body suddenly stretched, his arms expanded, and his right palm turned into a cannon, rushing upwards, forming a domineering red flame fire dragon impact posture. A pale white wave appeared on the surface of Morimoto Ryaji's body, and disappeared in a flash. The horizontal thrust of his right foot was strangely paused, and the whole leg collapsed straight, slashing downwards like a battle axe. It's a bit similar to the shave of the Admiralty of that world, but his offensive is more bold. Boom. Ace was naturally not to be outdone. The burning flames around him condensed on his fist, colliding with Morimoto Ryaji's leg at high speed and briefly freezing in midair. The exaggeration of his muscles and the shocking lines were clearly visible. Coming from the world of pirates, Ace's physical strength and constitution are very hard. Compared with ordinary jounin, his body has already been cut into pieces when faced with Morimoto Ryaji's kick in the 6th active state. After the exchange of blows, Ace took 3 steps back. Morimoto Ryaji had nowhere to use his strength, and flew backwards in midair the moment he landed. Ace exerted force on his feet. His center of gravity reverberated, and his body rushed forward quickly, like a terrifying beast that had locked onto its prey. The body sprayed out rolling flames and turned into a stream of air. This move was Ace's imitation of Akanu's offensive method during the war on the top, and was used for the first time on the opposing navy leader, who seemed a bit annoying to him. As soon as Morimoto Ryoji landed, he saw his opponent turn into flames and attack him. He didn't dare to neglect. He roared and waved his right fist. As the fist moves forward, a rich white light emits in the second confrontation. Morimoto Ryoji was defeated again. He took a few steps back. At the same time, his eyes lost focus, his consciousness was blurred, and there were traces of burnt marks on his hair. Smelly. Boy, even the 6th active state was unable to defeat Ace in front of him. Morimoto Ryoji's aura was dancing wildly, showing that he was preparing to enter the 7th active state. Being humiliated by a newcomer who didn't know where he came from, Morimoto Ryoji angrily decided to use the 7th active state to regain his face. Cheng Yuan's face changed. Yu reading www. Huakanshu. The water silk chakra line controlled by net can no longer maintain the boundary area where the two sides are fighting, because the emergence of the 7th activity will cause the surrounding small battlefield to suddenly collapse and spread to other parts of the village. Sensing that his opponent's strength seemed to be about to skyrocket again, Ace was waiting for it when he saw a ray of light falling from the sky, which turned into Shiraishi, who appeared as a ray of light and punched Morimoto Ryoharu hard. In an instant, the ground around several meters sank, and Morimoto Ryoji's body was hung viciously by Shiraishi. Shiraishi, who easily suppressed Morimoto Ryoji with one punch, looked as cold and ferocious as a beast. You are too presumptuous to use the 7th activity in the village. Morimoto Ryoji, who was pressed to the ground, tried to stand up, but when he saw Shiraishi's eyes, he instinctively felt deep fear. If this guy had just activated the 7th active state at all costs, the consequences would be disastrous. He was so strong that he subdued the navy leader with just one punch. The punch that Shiraishi landed from the sky just now made Ace couldn't help but compare with his father, Whitebird. Chapter 320, New Admiral. From now on, Ryoharu Morimoto will temporarily step down from his position as leader of the navy, retain his title of jounin, and stay at home to reflect on his mistakes. Shiraishi's punishment of Morimoto Ryoharu came out very quickly and caused an uproar within Sunagakure. However, everyone also understood Kazekage's anger very well. After all, Morimoto Ryoharu was too arrogant this time. He ignored the admiral he recommended in public and ignored his own prohibition by using the last two of the 8-day calling techniques without authorization, which almost caused a catastrophe. Now he is just relieved of his position, which is considered a relatively gentle way to deal with it. As the 5th generation Kazekage, Aoki Shiraishi is also the strongest Kazekage in the history of Sunagakure village. His prestige in the entire village is almost unmatched by anyone. Compared with ordinary Kage, dealing with such a high-level person may cause a backlash. Shiraishi dealt with Morimoto Ryoji. The Admiralty accepted the order with little resistance. The strongest person in the contemporary ninja world naturally has unparalleled intimidation power. Ryoharu Morimoto is the person in charge of the establishment of the Navy Ministry. Now that you have removed him from the post of marshal, the entire Navy Ministry does not dare to directly resist you, but everyone inside is in danger. Do you have a way to deal with it? These years of living in seclusion have made Ibizo a bit dim-sighted. He squinted at the chessboard in front of him. He was not too concerned about the current situation, so it was rare for him to care about this incident. There are already candidates for the second marshal of the Navy. I have indulged them too much in these years. You are more than just conniving. Over the years, the Navy Department has been your most favored department, and other departments have complained more than once or twice. Mentioning this matter, Shiraishi smiled awkwardly. He supported the Navy Ministry originally to curb these traditional local forces. Everything was to better prepare for the restructuring of the Kingdom of Wind and Sand Hidden Village in the future. The Admiralty has cultivated a sword by himself, but now Morimoto Ryoji is no longer suitable to be the handle of this sword. The main components are civilians and ninjas from the newly merged islands of the Wind Country. The Navy Department formed by these people must be controlled by Shiraishi. If Morimoto Ryoji is no longer under his control, then there must be a suitable Navy Department managers. When it comes to the issue of the Marshal of the Navy Department, Ryoharu Morimoto has been managing maritime forces in Nano Country in the past. After the Navy Department was established in Shiraishi, it was natural for him to become the Navy Marshal. Although Morimoto Ryoharu has great influence within the Navy, there is still a suitable replacement to run the Navy. After listening to Shiraishi's words, Ibizo picked up a cup of tea and took a sip, then suddenly said, "You mean Nagase Bizun?" After Hashinomi died in the battle, Nagase Bizun was disheartened and taught at the Ninja Academy. However, before that, he had been responsible for naval construction in the Kononoguni area for a long time. In terms of qualifications and prestige, among the old batch of Navy ninjas, he is second only to Morimoto Ryoji. He should be the most suitable candidate at the moment. Marshal Morimoto Ryoharu of the Navy was deprived of his position when Shiraishi said he would be deprived of his position, which showed that the Kazekage-sama was still the strongest controller of the entire Sunagakure village, and the minds of other senior officials also became active point as another one of the three giants. Iroquois Erishi recommended several Anbu leaders to serve as managers of the Navy Department, but they were all rejected by Shiraishi. Uzumaki Sensei. Outside the jounin class mission announcement hall, Iroquois Kashiwa followed Uzumaki to Maki and handed in the mission. He did not leave with his two companions, but stayed behind to wait for Uzumaki Tamuki. Seeing Iroquois Kashiwa appear, Uzumaki Tamuki was a little surprised. "What's the matter, Iroquois?" "Well, I want to apply for the Navy Department, Iroquois." Kashiwa's thoughts made Uzumaki Tamuki very surprised. "The Navy Ministry is currently unstable. Are you really considering joining the Navy?" When Morimoto Ryoji's accident happened, his student wanted to join the Navy instead, which made him unable to understand Iroquois Kashiwa's thoughts. Speaking of this young man, Iroquois Kashiwa smiled shyly. "During this period, I followed the teacher on many missions, but compared to the Navy, these missions on the mainland are too mild." Iroquois Kashiwa is a genin who has strict requirements for himself. At this stage, he has already lost his patience by performing these simple small tasks every day. In fact, he is looking forward to the tasks of the Navy Department because they are full of various battles and real life and death fights. As for making this request to Uzumaki Tamuki, it was because Iroquois Kashiwa heard from the mountain road bender that Uzumaki Tamuki was about to become an admiral of the Navy together with the mysterious Mr. Ace. My teacher who leads the team is about to be promoted, so I wouldn't take the opportunity to express my feelings to him now. Of course, Uzumaki Tamuki also had his own thoughts. Although he had always been loyal to his master Kazekage, it was troublesome to be a high-ranking member of the Navy Ministry and not have any of his subordinates who could really trust him. Iroquois Kashiwa's request made his heart move. Sand control techniques don't work well at sea. Iroquois Kashiwa smiled brightly. "Since it is difficult to use the sea sand control technique, I will take other training routes." This answer made Uzumaki Tamuki happy. Nakusu must blame me for leading the youngest genius of the three sand escapes to evil. Iroquois Kashiwa was born into a big family, but he chose to train in the Navy. You can imagine how much trouble it caused in the family. Uncle ZH, will understand me. If he didn't understand, he wouldn't tell Iroquois Kashiwa this information. Now, under the leadership of the 5th Kazekage, Sand Hidden Village has entered a new era, and the Sand Hidden 3 lineages will naturally have to undergo certain changes. "Why did you come to me in the Kazekage office?" reading www.ukanshu.net. Morimoto Ryoji appeared in front of Shiraishi with a bandage on his face and a slightly pale face. After this period of treatment by the medical class, his injuries have basically recovered. Faced with Shiraishi's sarcastic words, Morimoto Ryoharu stepped forward in fear. "I can't give up on the Navy Department in my heart. This incident was indeed caused by my being too arrogant." Shiraishi looked straight at Morimoto Ryoji, and after a long time he slowly said, "You have even begun to learn the snake ninjutsu of the Righteous line. I see that you are not arrogant at all. On the contrary, you know what you need." "Know what do you need?" In addition to the 8-day call, Morimoto Ryoharu also has a special snake ninja aura. Although it is not clear whether it is Orochimaru or Shiraishi, this is the biggest core reason why Shiraishi punished Morimoto Ryoharu this time point as the shadow of a village and the actual controller of the Kingdom of Wind. Shiraishi will never allow variables that cannot be controlled to arise. Secretly practicing snake ninjutsu is certainly a trivial matter, but it reflects that Morimoto Ryoji is cooperating with these other forces behind his back. Shiraishi's biggest taboo has been violated. PS. Ahem. Let's get some recommendation tickets and monthly passes. Chapter 321. Give a Bitto a pot. In the bamboo hut, Naga's Bison was wearing a snow white coat, looking through books with a tired face. The fire was burning brightly, but Naga's Bison still felt a little cold and couldn't help shivering. Every time you read these books carefully, you will have a different experience. The books in Naga's Bison's hands are all novels and poems written by Mahashino during his lifetime. Sometimes when he was lonely, he would read these books to remember his lost companion. You going to be immersed in this grief for the rest of your life and never be able to get out of it. Shiraishi's voice was accompanied by rustling footsteps. As soon as he entered the house and saw Naga's Bison's little daughter attitude, Shiraishi couldn't help but feel a little angry in his heart. Compared to Ryoji Morimoto, this guy's too gentle and a model, and more naive than Shirogakiji. He has been silent in the restrained world he created for these years, facing the appearance of his teacher. Naga's Bison stood up slowly, with a hint of sickness on his fair cheeks. It was obvious that his mental state was not very good. Teacher Shiraishi ignored Naga's Bison, but sat down on his own and handed over a piece of information. Ryoji Morimoto has now been relieved of his duties as Marshal of the Navy. I have submitted a letter of recommendation to the jounin class for the new Marshal. It's up to you regarding this appointment. Naga's Bison gave a wry smile and shook his head with some difficulty. With my current physical condition, how can I manage the Navy Ministry and compete with them? There are many factions within the Navy Ministry. Although he was the head of the Koinaguni Academy in the past and had many students under his command, Morimoto Ryoji's direct family is more powerful. What's more, there are jounin classes outside, and the Anbu is watching covetously. Do you want to stay here forever? Shiraishi looked at Naga's Bison. Opposite of the three of you, I was most optimistic about Ashinome because she was a genius, and I pitied Morimoto Ryoji the most because he grew up in a very difficult environment and has always paid attention to you. It's not high, not because you are not outstanding, but because you are the most stable among the three. Naga's Bison is experienced and steady in his work and has a good-natured temperament, which makes him very suitable for stabilizing the current Navy Ministry. As for Morimoto Ryoharu, as the first Navy Marshal, in order to speed up the construction of the Navy Ministry, he did not hesitate to offend all the forces in the village and paved the way for the next Navy Marshal. To be precise, Naga's Bison is Shiraishi's real ideal Navy Marshal. Mentioning his companion, Naga's Bison sighed softly. Morimoto Ryoharu has always pursued the principle of supremacy of strength because his father was persecuted by the Yamaji family since he was a child. Witnessing the death of his friend Tokuri Saji during the Kusuno country incident made him deeply afraid of death, hoping to gain stronger power, and finally walked away. Go astray. The construction of the Navy Department is related to the entire future Sunagakure strategic plan. Morimoto Ryoharu can be removed from his post, but the construction and development of the Navy Department cannot be stopped. You must shoulder your role and mission for me. Facing Shiraishi's gaze, Naga's Bison finally agreed, after struggling for a moment. No matter what, after all, the Admiralty was his own part in the construction, and he did not want the Admiralty to collapse like this soon. An official document from within Sunagakure was issued. Former Marine Marshal Ryoharu Morimoto was dismissed, and Naga's Bison took over the duties of Marine Marshal. At the same time, among the three major admirals appointed, Ace, Uzumaki Tomoki and another female jounin were appointed, constituting the three major admirals of the current Navy Department. After the turmoil in the Admiralty gradually calmed down, the movements on the mainland of the ninja world were still unknown. However, according to news from Orochimaru, although Inoki supported the Konoha collapse plan, Iwa Ninja would never personally participate. The alliance of the three major ninja villages is a relationship that must be maintained at this stage. As the Iwa Ninja Inoki has become older and older over the years, his fear and fear of Sunagakure village are also increasing day by day. The Fourth Ninja War, I hope it will break out while I'm still alive. At the Iwa Ninja high level meeting, Inoki, although he had become a bad old man, had very clear ideas in speaking and doing things. United with Konoha, Kumo Ninja will directly deal with Sunagakure from the ground. We must not be led by his Admiralty department, since Sunagakure focused part of its energy on the sea and established the Navy department. Kumo Ninja and Konoha didn't know why, but they were also able to divert some of their attention to build defenses at sea. This makes the Kingdom of Earth, which is not bordering the Kingdom of Wind on the sea, very dissatisfied. In their view, this is a conspiracy of Sunagakure, deliberately letting each village disperse part of its strength at sea. In fact, the real main force of Sunagakure is on land. In addition to the three major ninja villages, the country of Rain is also the direction we must pay attention to. Speaking of the Kingdom of Rain, several high-ranking Iwa ninjas quickly handed a report to Inoki. Lord Tsuchikage, the Kingdom of Rain has currently sent an envoy to discuss relevant cooperation matters with us. The country of Rain has just leased the peninsula town to Sunagakure, and now it has come back to seek our cooperation. Does such a small country really think that it can wander between big countries and seek benefits from both sides? No, the leader of the country of Rain leaked information about a peninsula town to us. The geographical environment of that area is a bit special. The direction of the country of Rain took the initiative to show its goodwill, and also leaked some key intelligence and information to the Iwa Ninja from the peninsula town base that was previously cooperated with Shiraishi and established for Sunagakure. This incident shows that Nagato now expresses strong uneasiness about Sunagakure's expansion. If the Akatsuki organization wants to collect tailed beasts, they must start from the first tail. But now Sunagakure's strong troops and horses are the most difficult force to deal with in the ninja world. Although it is not yet time to implement the plan, the Akatsuki organization also needs to consider how to weaken Sunagakure's strength. The problem is that Konan and Nagato still don't understand why the mysterious Mr. Madara Uchiha is still planning the conflict between Konoha and Uchiha at Camp Jiji. It's rare that he doesn't understand that the strongest ninja village in the ninja world is Sunagakure, and the most troublesome opponent in the ninja world is also Sunagakure. How much power does Konoha still have if the conflict between the Uchiha clan and the top management of Konoha is exposed now? Reading www.ukashu.net. I'm afraid that the balance of the ninja continent will soon be broken. Nagato, do you think that the struggle between Uchiha and Konoha's top leaders will cause the Fourth Ninja War? The skinny Nagato side. If Konoha continues to weaken, that will be the best time for Sunagakure to unify the ninja world. Whatever the outcome of the confrontation between the Uchiha clan and Konoha will be the most beneficial outcome for Sunagakure. Uchiha Kid and Shiraishi see this very clearly, so they vigorously promote further confrontation between Konoha and Uchiha. What did Madara say? He said he hasn't been causing trouble in Konoha lately, although Obito thinks that his education level is not high, and he is a bit brainless in doing things. He is not unable to see the overall situation, after being reminded by Zetsu and others around him. At present, Uchiha is in chaos, and the conscience of heaven and earth really has nothing to do with him. Who is doing this? Chapter 322, New Golden Skill Card. The fragile balance will be broken at any time. Some people in the top management of Konoha naturally realize that the conflict with the Uchiha clan will inevitably cause huge waves of anger in the entire ninja world. However, the contradiction between the two sides is getting deeper and deeper, making the situation very strange. Uchiha Obito is also helpless. Nagato of the Rain Country blames him all day long for causing trouble. In fact, he has been paying attention to the situation and collecting intelligence recently and has not done anything. However, the problems within Uchiha have become more and more serious. It's getting more serious. Could it be that Uchiha Kid Fugaku's attitude has also quietly changed recently? It is obviously because Uchiha-Kide's main Juki Sharingan has been shown to Fugaku, giving him the confidence to almost deal with Konoha's top management point. Although Obito's original plan was to use the top management of Konoha to cause conflict with the Uchiha clan and to maximize his own interests in the process, now it seems that he needs to seek stability point under such circumstances. He had to appear in front of Itachi Uchiha and reveal his identity point, although Uchiha Itachi also didn't believe that this person was Uchiha Madara. He explained that under the guidance of Uchiha-Kide, the internal situation in Uchiha was gradually heading towards the most collapsed situation, and he agreed. Uchiha-Kide's main Juki Sharingan ability is very difficult to deal with. With the Shisu Kaleidoscope, Uchiha Itachi collected the energy of Uchiha-Kide's main Sharingan, the terrifying high temperature power, to change the weather in the surrounding environment, combined with the unique fire control method, made Uchiha-Kide's fire escape almost reach degree of invincibility point. Now that Zetsu is not around, Obito is confident that he can control Uchiha Itachi, so he directly said, "You and I will definitely be able to successfully deal with this Uchiha-Kide if we work together." Facing Uchiha Obito's invitation, Uchiha Itachi seemed to agree sincerely. It must be said that Uchiha Itachi's expression and demeanor showed an honest side. Uchiha Obito did not have any doubts. He was very happy to use the space-time ninjutsu and disappeared in front of Uchiha Itachi. Sure enough, this guy is the mastermind of the Ninetales incident. Now that he has noticed Uchiha Obito's flaw, Uchiha Itachi also has his own plan. At Kide Uchiha's house, an envelope from Itachi made Uchiha-Kide look curious. After all, it was rare that Itachi would take the initiative to ask him out. Maybe he couldn't help but prepare to ask himself out for a decisive battle. According to what I know about him, this matter is most likely Uchiha Itachi's letter of engagement. Then he won't go. Who stipulated that he must agree to attend the meeting? As a result, Uchiha Itachi and Uchiha Obito waited for Uchiha-Kide all night, but neither saw the target appear. Uchiha Itachi appeared silently on one side and said coldly, "It seems he refused to show up." Clenching his fists tightly, Obito said with a hint of irritation in his voice, "Is this guy still an Uchiha? So afraid of battle?" The situation in the ninja world is in turmoil, but Shiraishi is currently meeting with Mr. Lopner, the head of the real Owlin Chamber of Commerce, in the Kazekage office. Although this real Lopner has a similar face to the Lopner Shiraishi pretended to be at that time, his temperament is more melancholic. As one of the several major chambers of commerce in the country of Wind, Owlin Chamber of Commerce Lopner can definitely be regarded as a powerful character. This is a card acquired by the Chamber of Commerce from the Kingdom of Thunder and the Kingdom of Earth. In addition to normal trade, Shiraishi often entrusts some large chambers of commerce to recycle skill cards that are wandering abroad. Currently, except for the cards hoarded by the three major ninja villages of Konoha, Kumo Ninja, and Iwa Ninja, most of the remaining cards wandering abroad have been acquired by Shiraishi. This time, among the cards that Lopner brought back, there was a golden quality Thunder Escape card, which aroused Beishi's curiosity and attention. Seeing Master Fengying's expression, Lopner understood that this acquisition was considered a success. It could at least move Master Fengying's face, which meant that there was something that Master Fengying paid more attention to. Regarding the conflict between you and the Bijima family, I will send people to continue to mediate. In addition, the mines in the Kingdom of Frost can be appropriately invested, but Konoha will be responsible for the risks along the way. Beishi personally inspected the mine in the Kingdom of Frost and also obtained the cooperation of Alyosha. After confirming the value of the mine, he agreed to the Owlin Chamber of Commerce to mine it. Thank you, Kazekage-sama. While Shiraishi was talking to people from the Owlin Chamber of Commerce outside the Kazekage office, Kankuro, who was babbling and still ignorant of Gaara, was very uneasy watching his sister Temari wandering around. "Sister, this is the Kazekage-sama's office. You can't wander around casually." Seeing her brother's worry, the blonde little Lalita Temari smiled broadly. "Don't worry, I just said hello. After all, it has been several months since I returned from this hot spring trip and I haven't seen Uncle Shiraishi." Compared to Temari, Kankuro is actually a little afraid of Shiraishi. After all, He is the Kazekage-sama, the most respected adult in the village point. After running all the way, little Temari finally arrived at Shiraishi's office. When she saw Shiraishi without a beard, the blonde little loli suddenly walked forward and wanted Shiraishi to hug her as always. Without the beard, Uncle Shiraishi looks better. The beauty effect of an organic reincarnation is incredible. Shiraishi's skin is now very delicate, so Temari feels that Shiraishi becomes even more beautiful. After shaving point however, Shiraishi didn't want to be like Orochimaru, with his skin looking too pale all day long, so he tried his best to maintain his original appearance point. He took out 3 exquisite desserts for Temari and motioned for the 3 of them to eat beside him. At the same time, Shiraishi focused on the skill card sent by the Lowland Chamber of Commerce point over the years. Although Shiraishi has read most of the skill cards, he has not practiced them all. Only when some skills that suit him, or the split body appear. Ukanshu www.ukanshu.net will practice them. However, most of the golden cards have powerful abilities and functions, and the golden cards of Thunderbolt style rarely appear. So Shiraishi is looking forward to this card point compared with the days it took to read a golden card before. Shiraishi now reads the golden skill card very quickly, successfully unlocking this brand new card in almost no time. Hey, is it a lightning escape style similar to Lightning Fist? But why golden quality? In the demonstration screen, golden light shines on the user's body for a moment, and golden electro-optical particles are sprayed out from all directions, turning into golden light and shining on the earth. Each punch is extremely fast, like the force of thunder, sweeping in front of the eyes and destroying all obstacles around it. After practicing the moves, the light particles scattered on the body seem to be constantly activating every cell in the user's body. Seeing this, Shiraishi's pupils suddenly dilated a lot. This move is almost the most perfect lightning escape card. Chapter 323, Plasma Lightning Fist. The golden skill Kuridan Plasma Lightning Fist allows the user to release a special layer of plasma light. Not only can he release super fast plasma lightning fists, but he can also turn other regular attacks into thunderbolt armor. Even your own whirlwind knife can be transformed into a thunder escape attribute, increasing its explosive power by several levels. This move is not so much a thunder escape, but a combination of enhanced thunder escape, a high speed attack combined with attack methods. It has strong plasma speed penetration, and is very gorgeous when illuminated by light. Shiraishi's eyes flashed with cold light, and the surrounding environment switched instantly, and he appeared in a special underground training ground. As countless sand towers emerged little by little, a special electromagnetic blockade was formed to prevent Shiraishi from being too powerful when testing the technique. The prerequisite for practicing the gold level skill card Plasma Lightning Fist is that the Thunder attribute chakra reaches a certain degree of purity. At this point, due to the existence of Hagoromo Minato, Shiraishi can easily unlock the restriction point. The power of lightning strikes in the body, under Shiraishi's control, produces countless small particle lights around him, which continuously shine on the field, forming dense dots of light that continuously refract colorful light. Baishi's body slowly floated in mid-air. The moment he raised his hand, countless light particles around him condensed into a rain of light and poured out. Countless electric fists swept in, forming a domineering storm of projection. In the dazzling light of the sky, the power of electric current covered Baishi's body, making it look very pure. He has mastered the power of lightning strikes before, so this plasma lightning fist is designed to release the energy of lightning strikes, which can create a special illusion attack in the fist light of the rain of light. In terms of illusions, although Moonbat has followed Yamato in the future world these years, Shiraishi relied on the power of King Yan in Thunder Release to make his own resistance to illusions reach a very strong level. When it comes to illusions, Shiraishi originally stored a special piece of memory data in his own brain in order to guard against special brainwashing spells by other gods. Once another god's illusions affected him, this special memory data will be directly covered with the power of green flames, producing a similar system restore effect. Nowadays, Shiraishi no longer needs this method. He has the absolute confidence to directly resist the other gods. To put it bluntly, this kind of illusion is still a method of chakra disrupting one's own perception. However, when the difference in chakra amount between the two sides reaches a certain level, the effectiveness will be reduced. it will attenuate a lot. What's more, there is also the power of blue flames that builds the real world as a protective barrier to protect Shiraishi's consciousness from being disturbed by special forces. Compared with ordinary thunder escape, Plasma Lightning Fist is almost the most perfect thunder escape attack method. The small triangular sand tower that was previously ravaged by Plasma Lightning Fist has now been ravaged and is very dilapidated. However, Beishi's attack was not over yet. After the Plasma Lightning Fist was released, the surrounding wind blades condensed and formed a huge electromagnetic storm blade. The electric current rolled up, and under the crackling light, a brilliant and dazzling light was projected. According to the initial explanation of the skill card, the whirlwind knife belongs to the general category, although Shiraishi later integrated his own wind escape to form a unique and exclusive whirlwind knife. But with the relationship of the Plasma Lightning Fist, the power of the whirlwind knife was directly increased by more than 10 times. The terrifying electromagnetic storm turned into an appalling force in Shiraishi's hands, causing huge energy shock waves throughout the field. Numerous floating metal pyramids around are used for data testing and analysis, and part of the information is summarized and processed. At the same time, in the training ground outside Shirogakure village, Hagoromo Shinto also condensed similar plasma light, but compared with Shiraishi's golden sacred light, Hagoromo Shinto's particles appeared silver. The colors of the particles are different, which means that the two people's thunder escape training methods are slightly different. Hagoromo Minato's thunder escape is more integrated with frozen vaults, so when combined with the Plasma Lightning Fist, the particle light is silver. On the contrary, the main body of Shiraishi is trained in lightning strikes, and his plasma light is mainly golden. Master, there is a letter from the village, hoping that you can be an envoy to the Chunin exam jointly organized by Konoha, Iwa Ninja, and Kumo Ninja. Several members of the Hagoromo clan saw that their young master had completed his training and quickly stepped forward to report the mission issued by the Raikage. As a genius of Shirogakure village, although Hagoromo Shinto has a lofty status, in fact the attitude of Shirogakure senior management towards the Hagoromo clan is defensive, so the only people he can really use are the remaining members of the Shirogakure clan. The situation faced by the Hagoromo clan is somewhat similar to that of Konoha's Uchiha. The incident between the Golden Horn and the Silver Horn caused too much damage to the entire village, causing the Raikage family to have to be cautious about issues related to the Hagoromo clan. However, this mission to Konoha was entirely due to strategic needs. Shirogakure wanted to strengthen his connection with Konoha, so this time in the Chunin exam, he hoped to have Hagoromo Minato lead the team to show the strength of the younger generation of Kumo Ninja. I'm afraid there is nothing particularly noteworthy about this Chunin exam. Although it is jointly organized by 3 parties, the competition venue is directly chosen in the Kingdom of Frost. Except for the 3 leading teachers who are jounin, there are almost no other strong people. I see, although the current ninja world seems calm, in fact it has already been turbulent internally. The conflict between Konoha and the Uchiha clan, in the eyes of many people, will become a trigger and directly trigger the 4th Ninja World War. The Third Kazekage tried to negotiate peace with Uchiha Fugaku to avoid this incident, but the internal differences between the two parties were too loud, so it all ended in vain. In the territory of the Uchiha clan, seeing that Uchiha Kid showed no sign of keeping his appointment, the anxious Uchiha Obito decided to directly attack Uchiha Kid and use the space-time ninjutsu to suck him into his divine space. Going straight to the point, Uchiha Itachi reluctantly agreed to Uchiha Obito's plan. So at nightfall, Kid Uchiha had just returned to his home when he noticed 2 mysterious figures following him. Who are you, Uchiha Kid? Pay the price for your broken promise, Uchiha. Obito was the first to attack, and was about to release his space-time ninjutsu to control Uchiha Kid in one fell swoop, but saw Uchiha Kid looking at him with a look of full "What's that look in your face?" Looking at the confused Uchiha Obito opposite, Uchiha Kid said calmly, "The mainstream situation in the ninja world now is peace, so all parties are trying to avoid deepening the conflicts between Konoha and the Uchiha clan. So, what? So just bear this responsibility." Without waiting for an answer, you read www.ukanshu.net. A pair of dark 3 Magatama Sharingan walked slowly in the darkness Uchiha Fugaku looked at the mysterious masked man in front of him and said with caution in his tone, "You are the same person who was 9 years ago, the chief messenger of the Tail Rebellion." In addition to Fugaku, the third generation Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, as well as 2 Hokage advisors and Shimura Danzo were all present at the scene. Obito ignored Fugaku. Although he hadn't reacted yet, he had already noticed a problem. It seemed that Itachi had never taken action before. Could it be that black flames shot directly from Itachi's eyes and rushed towards Obito on the opposite side? When Amaterasu attacked, Uchiha Obito had no time to evade and could only use his own space-time ninjutsu to escape. However, this process was watched by Konoha senior officials. The Nine Tails Rebellion many years ago was planned by this conspirator who called himself Madara Uchiha. In this round, Itachi took the initiative to plot Obito from the very beginning, because he knew better than anyone else that, in order to resolve the current crisis in Konoha, the knot between Uchiha and the top management of Konoha must be resolved, so Obito had to sell. Chapter 324, I'm Uchiha Madara. The third Hokage looked at this mysterious Uchiha clansman with a livid expression. His superb space-time ninjutsu and the Sharingan all revealed the identity of the real culprit of the Nine Tails Rebellion in the past. However, Shimura Danzo was very indifferent. Even if the Kyuubi incident had nothing to do with Uchiha Fugaku, the murderer still came from the Uchiha clan. This was enough. The current situation is tense, and it is indeed not suitable to continue to have conflicts with Uchiha. Although Danzo is the purest martial arts sect, he also knows that it is difficult for Konoha to resist the invasion of Sunagakure alone. Uchiha Itachi took the initiative to reveal Obito because he was worried about the current situation in Konoha. If the Uchiha clan really had a bloody conflict with Konoha, it would inevitably cause a new ninja war to break out, so he had to take risks and put all conflicts lead to Obito. As for Uchiha Kid, it was a pity that Obito was so stupid that he was directly deceived by Itachi. Now I'm afraid that the conflict between the Uchiha clan and Konoha will temporarily ease, and no conflict will break out immediately. As a behind-the-scenes villain, Obito is feeling particularly aggrieved now. A series of plots have not only been destroyed, but he is now being besieged. His face is very ugly, and even though he is wearing a mask, others don't know what his face is like. Who are you? The third Hokage stepped forward and asked slowly. Obito sneered when he saw this. I'm Uchiha Madara. I have to admire brother Obito for still insisting that he is Uchiha Madara in front of the third Hokage and others. Nonsense. These rhetoric can deceive ordinary Uchiha tribesmen or other people in Ninja Village, but they cannot deceive these old people who built the village in Konoha. How could Madara Uchiha be so arrogant in the past? How could he become such a sneaky person now? Masked weirdo. As the leader of the Uchiha clan, Fugaku stared coldly at the masked man opposite him. Kid, take this man down. Yes. At this time, Uchiha Kid tilted his body and quickly swung his arms to burn out a stream of flames. It struck quickly, like a meteor streaking through the sky. The sound was very shocking, and the flames lit up the streets at night. Boom. After Obito condensed countless black runes on his hand, fierce air waves suddenly rolled out from where their fists collided, setting off a howling wind. As the airflow surged, the ground beneath both sides sank to a certain extent. During the collision between the two domineering chakra energies, Obito and Uchiha Kid understood each other at the moment when their Sharingan eyes met. However, the flames burning on Uchiha Kid's body became more intense and violent. Under the high temperature, he was like a god and demon, and his fists were torn directly. Obito's body trembled, as if he had been hit by a bomb explosion. His muscles and fascia trembled, and his meridians were in burning pain. The pure high temperature energy combined with his own ace cells created the most powerful punch. Obito also fought back. In the flash of cold light, the hairs on Uchiha Kid's right arm stood up one by one. He seemed to hear a sizzling sound in his ears, and invisible electric current surrounded his body. A long black stick is held in Obito's hand, condensing a special silver current light and swallowing a special current that interferes with chakra perception. Obito's condition wasn't very good now either. There was a brief burning sensation in his body, which made him secretly shocked that Uchiha Kid's fire escape power was so powerful and domineering. Affected by the current on the black stick, Uchiha Kid also contracted his power, and a small red fireball condensed in his hand. Seeing this scene, several high-level officials in Konoha suddenly felt a bit toothache. Is this fireball a modified version of the fireball that blew up the Lowland Chamber of Commerce? Boom. The fireball exploded, and Obito gave up the frontal confrontation. At the same time, the surrounding area became blurred, and the silver current created by the black stick filled up, transforming into a thunderous giant, and slamming forward ferociously. Can it be blurred, and ignore normal physical attacks? The tricks Obito showed at that moment made the Third Hokage and others frown. As a few veterans of the ninja world, since Uchiha took action, they were happy to observe and collect intelligence here. However, there are still basic battle judgments. Uchiha's series of attacks are already very powerful, but Obito can use virtualization and special ninja tools to avoid during the defense process. Although he is not Uchiha Madara, his strength cannot be underestimated. No wonder the fourth Hokage suffered a loss at his hands. However, the power of Uchiha's fire escape still gives people a feeling of fierceness, as if it can burn and destroy everything. A black light flashed, and Obito used the time and space ninjutsu to project a black stick and pierce Uchiha, causing him to retreat. A huge burning flame condensed in his hand, and he directly hammered the electromagnetic giant created by Obito head on. After the burst of airflow dispersed, Obito's figure suddenly disappeared like a floating cloud, and then the ghost appeared behind Uchiha. Dozens of black sticks were shot out from all directions. In addition to Uchiha, several other high-level officials of Konoha were also affected. No, this is an illusion. Uchiha Obito's eyes condensed instantly, and the surrounding environment and atmosphere suddenly changed. When the Third Hokage and others quickly formed seals to break the illusion, Obito had already disappeared in front of Uchiha and others. Only Uchiha, whose body was pierced by the real black stick, remained motionless, as if he was trapped in an illusion. At this time, Fugaku appeared in a flash and unlocked the illusion for Uchiha. After a while, Uchiha came to his senses, but Uchiha Obito had already evacuated. Use space-time ninjutsu to retreat. The ability of virtualization and special time and space transfer make him invincible. From the beginning, Konoha's top management did not expect to keep this Uchiha who can freely enter and exit the barrier. At the moment, they are just collecting certain information for filing. The atmosphere at the scene was a bit awkward for a while. Reading www.ukanshu. Although Net successfully forced Obito back due to his weird space-time ninjutsu ability, Konoha's senior officials found it difficult to effectively contain and hunt down this intruder. However, Uchiha still felt Uchiha Itachi's gaze behind him, which gave people a very dazzling feeling. He still suspected something. Uchiha did not really show his full strength in the battle with Obito. On the contrary, he simply kept fighting to create opportunities for Obito to retreat. Obito also noticed Uchiha's intention. The two of them fought mostly for show, so they everyone evacuated with dignity on their faces. Although Uchiha did it very covertly, Itachi, who knew his true strength, would not think that Uchiha had just gone all out. That person's illusions wouldn't keep him trapped for that long, and even required his father to perform a seal. This guy was completely deliberately letting the masked man get wet. Uchiha, don't you still hope that the family in Konoha can reach an understanding as soon as possible at this time? What does he want to do? Chapter 325, Organizing Memories. After the Obito incident, although the top management of Konoha and the Uchiha have relaxed somewhat, it is not necessarily true that the tension within Konoha has completely changed. The confrontation that started from the founding of the village, although some people took the blame, the estrangement still existed, and the distrust between the two sides still existed. All of this was something Uchiha Itachi could not have expected. Although he worked hard to change all this, in fact the opposition between the Uchiha clan and Konoha still existed. Obito's origin and identity are unknown. An imposter who calls himself Uchiha Madara. No matter who he is still from the Uchiha family. This cannot be changed. For the entire Uchiha clan, only Fugaku, Kid, and Itachi know what happened that night. Most of the clan members are still the same as before. What's more, even if they react, they can't change their current desire to change Konoha. As the Mizukage, Kito Heizuki sees this kind of thing very clearly. The conflict between the Uchiha clan and Konoha continues to deepen. Although conflicts are avoided this time, confrontation and conflict will eventually occur in the future. Speaking of this, Onin Heiau looked at Uchiha Kid. Besides, there is Danzo in Konoha, so this matter will not end simply. Uchiha Kid, who is standing opposite the ghost lamp Heiau, is currently sitting in silence without saying a word. He was previously transplanted into the Jinjutsu by Obito and still exists. However, after being destroyed by the direct impact of the powerful chakra, his face turned a little tired. God comes. Although Ace cells can enhance his fire escape control, the consumption of the main Gekkai Sharingan is also very powerful. After all, the human body of a fire escape immortal is slightly different from that of a wood escape immortal. Although the loss was shared by 5 people, the bulk of it still fell on Uchiha Kid, and he was under great pressure. Compared to the immortal human body of wood escape, although the vitality of the immortal human body of fire escape is much better than that of ordinary people, it is not as strong in toughness. Instead, all the power is used to increase the output of fire escape. Obito was not captured by the Konoha people. The mystery of the related events has not been explained clearly, and the rift between the two parties will still exist. For example, Danzo believed that the person was pushed out by Uchiha to take the blame as someone who also took the blame. Danzo also suspected that the masked man was here to take the blame. A special healing light condensed on Shiraishi's fingers, shining on Uchiha Kid. The next step is to build momentum for you. After a while, the Sunagakure Navy will conduct a series of operations on Ruri Island, and Uchiha Kid needs to cooperate with Sunagakure in a play. Shiraishi explained. A person who is more talented than Uchiha Itachi's main Gekkai Sharingan, and at the same time, is the purest fire escape practitioner, and maintains the importance of his family. Such a person is enough to become the sustenance of the entire Uchiha clan. The news of the peace talks between Fugaku and Konoha's high-level officials left unintentionally, causing the entire clan to be very dissatisfied with the clan leader. How could such a capitulationist style appear in the great Uchiha clan? As for how Uchiha Madara was abandoned by his tribe, they automatically ignored it. Shiraishi only made Uchiha Kid a candidate for the next generation of Uchiha clan leader, instead of actually seeking leadership of the Uchiha clan, and cultivated a team loyal to him during the campaign. Uchiha Fugaku's attitude is now obvious. He does not want the conflict with Konoha to intensify. Even if there is a will to kidnap the entire clan, it will still be an obstacle. Therefore, he adjusts the next plan and pushes Uchiha Kid to the table. Shiraishi's follow-up arrangements putting aside the affairs of the Uchiha clan for the time being, Hagoromo Minato suddenly said, how about organizing the new memories? The second memory is almost processed, and will be patched soon. Among the 6 mirrors, in addition to the previous mirror with the fire fist mark, the memory in the second mirror is about to be reorganized. Since Shiraishi used the new Ninja 7 treasure tree to cross the boundary and reach Fire Fist Ace, allowing Uchiha Kid to obtain a powerful immortal body, the other split bodies are very much looking forward to sorting out the memories in the mirror and finding out the coordinates of the world. If you brush it up, you might be able to get an improvement point, but the entire memory arrangement is a long and meticulous task. The memory reorganization of the second mirror is currently about 98% complete, and a breakthrough will soon be achieved to obtain a complete memory. The original owner of this memory was a top dessert chef before traveling through time. Many of Shiraishi's dessert dishes were learned through his memory. Ace's temperament is stable, and he has no anti-human or anti-social tendencies, but this does not mean that the next time a guy appears, he will have the same personality. Shiraishi's words surprised several other split bodies. Among them, Ghost Deng Heiau asked, did you find anything in the memory fragments, compared to the last time, when the unlucky time traveler died due to the impact of Ace's fire fist? The guy in the second mirror seems to be even more unlucky. He was stabbed directly on the street and his throat was cut to death due to the residual energy. The original owner of the memory was hacked to death within a few days of traveling through time in a daze. So Shiraishi could not confirm the situation in this world, but the strong aftermath of the blade and the energy that directly cut his throat showed that the person who used the knife was powerful. To put it simply, he was killed by the sword energy from the roadside battle just a few days after he traveled through time without understanding the Situation point. This kind of miserable time traveler also made Shiraishi sigh. Point. Therefore, most of the memories in the second mirror are the content of the previous world. In addition to the pastry chef, this gentleman is also a erudite university professor. Shiraishi borrowed many contents and knowledge from this gentleman. Point. Opening the barrier for the second time also requires the 3 gates to be opened at the same time, activating the energy of the 3 ocean currents and vortices to build a complete natural dragon vein power. According to Shiraishi's estimation, it will take at least another 2 years. Reading www.ukanshunet can perform the second world coordinate switching push. But the maintenance time should be the same as the first time, only a few seconds at the same time. At the Admiralty headquarters in Nan Country, Ace put on the Admiral's cloak with a look of disgust on his face. Point. No matter which world you go to, why do you always have this style of clothing? The only thing missing from this cape is the word justice engraved on the back. Who is so wicked as to make this admiral uniform? Sunagakure's Admiral's cloak has the word Nindo engraved on the back. This is the clothing style decided by Shiraishi himself. Point. In addition to Ace, Uzumaki Tomoki in the next room also changed into the same clothes as Ace. On the first day he was transferred to the Navy Department. He appeared as an airborne admiral. Point. Of course, there is also the airborne regiment composed of the mysterious Ace Jounin and the old senior Nag Ace Bizun, who directly take over the Navy Department. Among them, Uzumaki Tomoki has the most difficult job, because he takes over the intelligence department under the Navy Ministry. Point. Although he did not come into contact with anyone else, the glances from the surrounding Navy soldiers and staff made Uzumaki Tomoki understand the difficulty of this task. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.